D. Mace Vingen and Donick 1025 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, and David Janes here with you. Willie, Derek, and I are live from the historic Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse in Midtown, 217 Luis Avenue in Nashville. I feel fancy.
Why is that?
Because this is a fancy place.
Absolutely.
The servers are wearing
fancy places.
tuxes.
Invite fancy people, right? So we knew we
I've
were
never
fancy.
been confused
They
for
knew
fancy.
they were fancy. So why not just get together and make what more fancy or fancier?
So is this is your first time here, Adam?
This
right?
is the first time at Jimmy Kelly's for yours truly.
Derek?
I've been here before. It's been a long time.
Okay, it has
really
been for
long
me as
time.
well. My first time here was spring of 1990. My freshman year, Vanderbilt was a recruiting trip for a guy from my hometown, baseball recruiting.
Mhm.
Guy named Greg Thomas, who was a great player. He got to AA, maybe had a touch of AAA. Had a great career at Vanderbilt. So another one of my successful recruiting ventures. I used the Orlando ties to get him. But the Final Four in 1990 was going on. Georgia Tech with Kenny Anderson, who was years later, just up until a couple of years later, was the head basketball coach at Fisk, just down the street. But, Kenny Anderson from New York City was a great college player. They had 3D, Dennis Scott, remember him?
Yes.
And just a great Bobby Cremins team. UNLV, who ended up winning the whole thing. Duke, that was Final Four Saturday. It was the first time that I came here. And we were the NIT champions at basketball. So that was my first time at Jimmy Kelly's. And I've been back many, many times since then. It is a beautiful place. They've done some renovations here. So if you haven't been here in a while, like Vanderbilt's playing at home tomorrow in a game that I'm really curious. I want to see Vanderbilt fill that place. Derek, you're always – last year I think your message was – yeah. I think you said, I quote, get your ass to the stadium.
Yes.
So I want to see people do that tomorrow. This team is number 20. They're exciting. They're playing a team that beat them last year. This would be a great place, Jimmy Kelly's, to come over before the game. Check out this new rooftop setting they've got or make a reservation. We're going to tell you how you can do that throughout the show today, but keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have a good show today.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, let's go. It's Friday.
Let's go.
Well, I hope that this doesn't bring the enthusiasm down.
What?
Let's start
You
with
can't bring down enthusiasm.
Well,
on
let's
Friday.
start with the Titans injury report.
Okay. Yeah, that may do it. Yes, you're right.
Jeez.
J.C. Latham is out for Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts,
I was afraid of that.
as is Tavondre Sweat.
I was afraid of that
Tavondre
too.
Sweat is out. Jarvis Brownlee is questionable with an ankle. L'Jarius Sneed is listed as questionable with a back injury, but told reporters after practice he is good to go. Apparently, he took a knee to the back from Jeffrey Simmons, which caused the back injury, but he says he's fine. So expect L'Jarius Sneed to play Sunday against Indianapolis. No J.C. Latham for the second week in a row. No Tavondre Sweat as well.
Yikes.
And we will talk about the ramifications of those things as we look ahead to the matchup with the Indianapolis Colts. But I do want to start today's program by asking the two of you, and all of you at 615-737-1025, if I should care about what we're about to discuss. I heard Robbie and Joe talk about it this morning. My friend Gentry Estes at the Tennessean wrote a column about it this week. Gentry's column was entitled, quote, Cam Ward versus the Nissan Stadium turf is my new favorite Titans subplot. And the reason why Gentry wrote about this subject and the reason why Robbie and Joe talked about this subject this morning is that on a couple of occasions over the past week, Cam Ward has brought up the fact that the Titans play on turf when they practice on grass. So let's start with last Sunday. Titans lose at home to the LA Rams. Cam Ward takes a sack in that game that proved critical for the Rams win. And Cam Ward was asked after the game about that sack. Here was what Cam Ward said last Sunday.
Do you feel like there's anything different you could have done ball security-wise on the phone? I would say not slip on the turf as much. Hopefully we get grass. And so I just think, it all came down to me. I stepped up in the pocket. I didn't, have it firm enough, and just slipped out. Especially in our territory, I can't have that happen. So it's just something that I got to watch film and learn from.
Okay, fair enough. That was Cam Ward after the game last weekend against the LA Rams. But then the subject came back up this week at practice when Cam Ward was asked once again about the grass versus turf debate.
Did you mention the new grass to anyone in particular wanting it, or is that just some kind of a joke?
Oh, no, I ain't mentioning yet. It'll get mentioned eventually. But, I mean, we practice on grass. Why we don't play on grass?
Last one.
So that was Cam Ward at practice earlier this week. Now, I just need y'all's help. The two of you and all of you listening at 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. Should I care about this? Because I am having an incredibly difficult time caring about this. When I've heard people talk about it, I just want to yell at them, touch grass, which you apparently can't do at Nissan Stadium because there is no grass at Nissan Stadium. But I still want to tell y'all, touch grass. Now, Derek, you played on grass fields, you played on turf fields. So you tell me, is this something I should care about? Because I am having an incredibly difficult time caring about this.
Listen, the turf has shown some, slippage in the sense of players slipping. I saw that, and I brought it up in the first game. It happened, again in the second game. More importantly, here in Nashville. And I just thought it was a problem. But hey, that's what happens when it's new turf and, they just sort of prepped it and everything else. So, you may have some of those issues. What my concern is, are these issues going to continue? But the question that he's asking, I mean, listen, this is the way football has been done for many, many years. It didn't just start with this group of individuals. The reason why coaches, the reason why they put in turf because it's cost effective, and turf has gotten to a point where, it holds up sort of like grass. It's nothing like the old turf used to be. Willie know about that turf, but it's nothing like that. So to them, engineering is better. They put out new, sort of artificial grass out. And, I guess their studies have found that, it doesn't cause as many injuries as one would think. So more teams choose to go that route, cost effective. But coaches do it because they know they got turf in the stadium. They don't want to then practice on turf because that's wear and tear on your body. You want to try to keep your players off that turf as much as possible. So, I mean, if he wants to, practice on turf, be my guest, practice on turf. And after about 2 weeks, he's going to hate it. It's unfortunate that the Titans, but this is something that is going to, he either get over it now because it's something so small, or he's never going to be productive. What is going to be in the new stadium?
Turf.
Thank you. Turf is going to be in the new stadium. There is no negotiating that. They already did it. It's done. That's what's going down. Yep. So
it's a closed roof.
Exactly. So I understand some of the guys out there slipping. That's when you really got to work on the type of shoes you wear and everything else.
You when you watch a game on turf, as you said, there's so many games played on turf. Are we talking about turf in general, or are we talking about the turf at Nissan Stadium?
I was talking about the turf at Nissan Stadium. That's what I was talking about.
You were texting, and I was noticing it in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game.
Yes.
There were people slipping a lot. I don't know what's going on with that turf. It's not old turf. It should be better footing there, but it's not. And it was both teams. And so, look, we can debate in general whether more injuries occur on turf or not. There are a lot of people that still remember when Odell Beckham Jr. got hurt in the Super Bowl. He made a big to-do after this, and there was a big spotlight because of the nature of that game.
Exactly.
So many people were watching. He tried to get a movement going to get rid of turf. Those days are probably over.
Yeah, that.
I know there are more fields now, and I believe the Titans is one of them. They don't have the tire pellets anymore. There's like coconut shells. It's a little bit more environmentally friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that people were having trouble with their footing, and Cam was definitely with that. Cam did not have great escapability on Sunday. He didn't really at Mile High Stadium on the grass either. Now, he was under a lot of duress, as we know. But I am wondering about that as he goes forward. Is like how elusive is he in general at getting away from rushes, getting key yards running? Because he hasn't really shown that ability yet. But the footing hasn't been great. So maybe that's what he's frustrated about. But you're right. He's going to have to deal with it because this is where he's going to play.
Yes, maybe Callahan, and this would be something that I would not advise a head coach or a GM to even suggest we do this. But, if you're going to say we got to try to emulate this as closely as possible or replicate this as closely as possible, well, we're going to, because the turf we have at our facility is the same turf, more than likely, that's in the stadium. So we're going to practice on this once a week, get your footing, because I think a lot of that was he's only played 2 games in that building. 2. He's only played 2.
And so one of them was the Vikings game.
Exactly.
He played, 2
so
series
he has
or 3
to
series?
get used to that surface, So
maybe your
coach,
shoes.
Yeah, maybe coach should take him. But I guarantee you, after about a couple of weeks, they ain't going to want to go back out there on that turf no more. They're not. As far as practice-wise.
Gentry Estes writes in his column, quote, "It doesn't make sense that the Titans installed turf in their own stadium and boasted at the time of having the same turf in their indoor practice bubble, yet continue to practice primarily outside on natural grass leading up to home games." He also mentions that Nissan Stadium switched from grass to turf prior to the 2023 season. The Titans linked the decision to Nashville weather and an effort to curb the number of injuries suffered by players in the Mike Vrabel era, which went against widespread conventional wisdom among NFL players that playing on turf is more hazardous for their health than grass. To me, meaning Gentry, this decision probably came down to the same reason most teams decide to switch to turf. It's cheaper than grass to maintain, especially when other football teams like Tennessee State also play in Nissan Stadium. So I've heard Cam mention this a couple of times. I caught that and I thought to myself, not to downplay the concerns that the team's starting quarterback has about the field surface. I'm just having a difficult time mustering up any sort of frustration over it. But again, I'm not the one playing on it, and I've never played on grass or turf. Well, I mean, I probably have.
It's just something that you would not hope with all of the things that they're dealing with right now. To add another one, and this is one where a rookie quarterback probably could have kept that. But like you said, some things you can keep in house. Now he's made it something that everybody knows about. Because when the quarterback says something, everybody's paying attention to what you say.
E.F. Hutton.
But that's
do you know that?
You're going. Derek's going.
Oh, look at his face. He's like
the wheels are spinning.
Go ahead, Derek.
Well, E.F. talk what?
People listen.
There you go.
Well, Gentry's point as well is that if anybody can convince the Titans to change things up, it's the number 1 overall pick starting quarterback. That was his point.
You got to start winning some games first. Win the Super Bowl, you can get that turf change.
Wes in Clarksville says, well, they just installed new turf in the old stadium. They're not going back to grass. And now the new stadium can't have grass. Josh from Nashville says, remind these guys about the turf at the old Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. I understand it was like playing on pure concrete.
It was. And listen, I don't expect, I understand, these young men's gripe because they never played on surfaces like that where, it was playing on concrete. So my tolerance for bad turf is different than their tolerance for bad turf. But what I would love for them is to understand the history of that stuff and know where we were and where we are at now. And y'all are playing on like some plush stuff. I get it. There are injuries out there that occur, but man, this is, if you turn out to be the quarterback they believe you can be, I believe you can be, you're going to be playing on turf for about 15 years.
If I were the equipment guy, I would be bringing him about 6 pairs of shoes.
Exactly.
And saying, all right, Cam, let's put this aside. Like, not that you can go tell him what to do, right? But you got to say, Cam, let's take a look at some shoes here and let's get one that you have better footing on, because sometimes that will help, right?
Yeah, I mean, some guys, I don't think they do it now because the turf is so much more different than what it is. Because some guys used to wear like basketball shoes, like nubs,
Yeah,
like O linemen. They wouldn't wear cleats.
yeah, because you want to get one
Quarterbacks, Matt
caught.
didn't really wear cleats until the turf changed.
Yeah.
And it became more like grass than anything.
Because you don't want to get it grabbed, because then
Exactly.
you're, you blow out your ankle,
Exactly.
et cetera. That's why a lot of those injuries hurt.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Do you have thoughts on grass or turf? 615-737-1025.
I got a lot of thoughts on it.
My point remains for most of you. Touch grass. 615-737-1025. Later today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Nashville Sounds take on Louisville with the first pitch at 6:15. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure.
I mean, I hope he throws that play again. Like, it wasn't a good throw. But, I mean, he's a talented player. So, you know, like I said, he can make all those throws. His arm angle, obviously, is exceptional. He's got a zip in the ball. Like I said, he's a number 1 overall pick for a reason. I was a fan of him when he was in college. But, you know, when you got a guy like that that's able to make plays, you know, you just got to make sure you stay on your assignments. But hopefully he throws the ball again.
That was Colts linebacker Zaire Franklin earlier this week talking about Cam Ward and his touchdown pass to Eligaya Manor. You heard Franklin there. It wasn't a good throw. He hopes that he attempts that again. And the 2-0 Colts, I should say, are coming to town on Sunday. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you live from Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse. 217 Luis Avenue here in Midtown Nashville. Willie Donick, you've got some information for our fine
I've got your
listeners.
hookup. I've got your hookup here. Everybody likes a good deal. So you can make a reservation. That's what they want you to do. Make a reservation for tonight or maybe tomorrow before the football game, really anytime. But if you mention 1025 The Game in your reservation notes, whether you go to Open Table, which a lot of people make their reservations on, or just go directly to Jimmy Kelly's website, jimmykellys.com. You can make a reservation there, or just go old school and call directly 329-4349. But mention us and you get a free dessert with your meal.
Ooh.
So I got you covered. I got you covered for dessert.
There you go.
D-Mace likes a good dessert.
Oh man, I love a good dessert. I will not turn down a good dessert. Nope.
So you heard the man. If you want a free dessert, make a reservation at Jimmy Kelly's and mention us, 1025 The Game, in the reservation notes. And Jimmy Kelly's will hook you up with a delicious free dessert.
Come and get your free dessert or you're going to get hurt.
Don't threaten the people.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to get
We want people to come here
they're scared they're
willingly.
going to make reservations.
We don't want somebody to write 1025 The Game because Derek Mason threatened me on air. That might be worth 2 desserts.
That's like the gooch. You don't even know what I'm talking
That's
about.
the second time.
Second reference went sailing right over Adam's
Yes.
bald head.
Yes.
Or balding head.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
balding.
I'm sorry.
ING.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Well, let me focus here. Let me
Okay.
get back on track. The Tennessee Titans released their injury report right before our show. If you didn't hear it then, you'll hear it now. J.C. Latham out once again for the Titans with a hip injury. Tavondre Sweat out once again with an ankle injury. Jarvis Brownlee questionable with an ankle injury. L'Jarius Sneed is also questionable with a back injury, but he said after practice that he expects to play. Kevin Zeitler also questionable with a bicep injury, among others. So keeping in mind that J.C. Latham is not going to play, which means either John Ojukwu or Ali Udo, a.k.a. Ali Uh-Oh, a.k.a. Ali Ono, a.k.a. Ali Rutro, could be starting at right tackle for the Tennessee Titans. But here's the question I have. Even with Latham's injury, I'm wondering if this is the week we finally get to see the Titans offense operate without constantly being under pressure. Through 2 weeks, the Titans have played 2 of the best pass rushes in the NFL. According to ESPN, Denver, through 2 weeks, second in pass rush win rate percentage. The Rams, through 2 weeks, fourth in pass rush win rate. The Indianapolis Colts, dead last in pass rush win rate, easy for me to say, at 19%. According to Next Gen Stats, the Colts' 20.6 quarterback pressure percentage is the worst in the NFL. So this Colts team, despite being 2-0, does not get after the quarterback, at least through 2 games. Again, you have to keep in mind the Latham factor and the Udo and the Ojukwu factor. But my question, Willie, is that through 2 weeks, Cam Ward has been under siege. I'm wondering if this game will give us a better indication of Cam Ward, knowing that at least based on the first 2 weeks, the Colts have really done nothing to affect the quarterback.
I think it should look a little better. I would say with the Colts, the 2 games that they've played, they have played teams. We talked this subject yesterday. The Broncos, who are pretty good at not allowing sacks with Bo Nix. The Dolphins, who, as many problems as they have, and they got a lot, they're 0-3 now, the first 0-3 team in the league. Tua Tagovailoa gets rid of the ball. Like last year, he was in the top 6-7 at sack percentage. So you're going to have a lower pressure rate when you play those two teams.
Mhm.
But it should look better. And I'm going to start with one guy who's not on the injury list, and that's Dan Moore. Dan Moore, I'm going to give him a little slack because he has faced really good edge rushers. I mean, really good in the first. That Benito
Mhm.
for Denver, he is a beast. LA's got more than one beast, but those guys had their way with Dan Moore. Dan Moore's got to have a better game on Sunday. He's not on the injured list. I know, hey, he's not great. I know they overpaid him. I know he's not great, but he's got to be better. He's got to be a lot better. I'm starting with him. It has to be better on his end. I can understand if they have issues all day long with trying to make do with whichever one of the O's they go to, right? They got two O's, OA and OB. Ojokwu, there's probably not that much difference within either one. They're going to have problems there. They're going to have to overcome that. They need a good day from Dan Moore.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a good day from Dan Moore because even though this team, their thing isn't, at least for the first two games, their thing isn't to get to the quarterback. They are still the 5th-ranked defense in the National Football League, and they are +4 in turnovers. They are a solid team that take advantages of offenses' disadvantages. They're going to rush 4. They're going to bring that 5th guy. They're going to play coverage behind. They are a disciplined team. They're going to play discipline, and they're going to come up and tackle. So I hope the Titans are able to hold up because if you can't, because even though they have Kwity Paye and DeForest Buckner in there, if you're able to hold up, you're good. Because now you give Cam Ward a chance to read the defense. If you're not holding up front against a 4-man front or 5-man front, I mean, the coverage behind you is going to kill you because they're playing zone coverage, and at first glance, nothing's open, because the receivers are not getting into their holes. So even though this team doesn't go after the quarterback, that's the way it seems the first two games of the season. One, don't think they won't put a wrinkle in their defense to come at both of those tackles. And then 2, they may just take the approach the Rams took. We're going to rush 4 because their offensive line is so pathetic right now. We're going to rush 4, and we're going to play coverage behind. And the same thing that was done to the Titans last week by the Rams is going to be done this week by the Indianapolis
Here's
Colts.
one other thing for the offensive line. How bad is Latham's hip? Has anybody delved into that? Are we talking about another couple weeks? Like, they haven't put him on injured reserve, but he hasn't practiced now for 2 full weeks. He hasn't practiced since the end of the Broncos game. That is for long term. That's a scary thing to think about. I'd love for somebody to do some reporting there and find out.
One texter who must be a Colts fan has offered some context to those numbers that I presented. And I'm all about providing context. The texter mentioned that Colts defensive end Laiatu Latu and cornerback Travarius Ward did not play last week against the Denver Broncos. Latu is expected to play on Sunday. Ward is listed as questionable with a concussion. So thank you, texter, for some of that context. Nevertheless, the pass rush
Latu was their first-round pick last year,
linebacker.
I think.
The pass rush numbers for the Colts through 2 games, and it's a small sample, pales in comparison to what the Titans faced in weeks 1 and 2.
Yes, but does it change who the Titans are from an offensive line standpoint? I don't care, if it's not Denver's and the Rams' vaunted, front 4. Those guys still can play up front in Indianapolis, Buckner and Kwity Paye. What I know now is that the offensive line has not gotten better. It's gotten worse. Why? Because Jason Latham isn't playing. Dan Moore in 2 games hadn't played well. And still, I don't know what's wrong. Is Zeitler fully healthy and
He's
ready to go?
listed as questionable for the game on Sunday.
So you got another guy questionable. So I tell you one thing. I know their defensive line. They may not be the Rams in Denver, but they're good.
Yeah.
But I know the Titans have gotten worse each week. But that's the truth, based on at least this week, based on injuries. What has happened up front with the injuries and the disappointment, at least for the last 2 games, with a left tackle that you went and paid all his money to.
What I'm hoping is, in the old sitcoms, maybe in some old cartoons, when 2 people would dress up in a big trench coat to try to fool somebody, can Ali Udo and John Ojukwu fit into the same uniform? Because perhaps if they're together, they can block the right side of the offensive line.
It'd be double trouble for the Titans. That's all it would be. Double trouble for the Titans.
I don't even want to think about either of them starting at right tackle for a significant period of time. But to Willie's point, we don't know much about J.C. Latham's hip injury. And the longer he goes without practicing, the more concerned I get. And with this offensive line, which we all said before the season, we expected it to be a professional offensive line, to borrow a phrase from Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated. We all expected it to be a professional offensive line. And through 2 games, we're disappointed by the performance. Again, context, the types of defenses the offensive line faced. You have to keep that in mind. But I'm not sure anybody expected the Titans to have allowed 11 sacks through 2 games after the additions they made on the offensive line.
And I think the key question is going to be, can they get into the fourth quarter still functioning? Because for 2.5 quarters in each of those games, they were good enough to at least be in the lead, right? They're getting a lot of scoring drives. They're just field goal drives, right? But they don't have a lot of 3 and outs. They've done some good things. They've run the ball okay. So we're focusing on the sacks, because late in the games, that's what's hurting them. The cream's rising to the top, or the dam breaks, whatever cliche or analogy you want to use. It's, can you hold up for 4 quarters and find a way to win a close game?
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Is this the week we finally see the Titans offense operate without constantly being under pressure? Against the Indianapolis Colts, through 2 games, have not done much to pressure the quarterback. 615-737-1025. Again, our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This Sunday, the NFL game of the week on 94.9 The Fan is the Cowboys versus the Bears at 3:25. And the Bears play on grass, by the way, at Soldier Field. NFL game of the week is presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and Massaro and 12 South.
Happy Friday, everyone. This is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting some type of goal to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment. But I got some news, and it's good, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Titans. Hey, Cam Ward. Woo! This is our team. Go Colts.
Donick. I thought you were the
Wow.
DJ today, Adam. Was this one of your
Wow.
selections?
That
I
was
hope
a
this is
David
not your
Jane selection.
That was
Okay.
definitely a me selection. I love this guy so
Oh,
much.
wow.
He cracks
Was that
me
David singing?
No,
Up. No,
it
no,
was
no.
not David
Definitely
singing.
not me singing.
There is a Colts fan who is famous for these
Parodies.
these anthems before
He-
every game.
He won
Oh, wow.
Fan of the Year last year. He's Seth Dufflo, as literally says Dufflo on his Twitter account. And it's so funny. It really is. Y'all
I
should look it
believe
up.
he
Dufflo.
performed one of these anthems at halftime on the field at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Man,
Ah,
So
you let anybody do anything.
that,
Anything for clicks. It's all about the
anything for
clicks.
clicks.
That-
Anything for clicks.
that is true. We
That
are
may be
live
true.
at Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse in Midtown Nashville. And just so that you know what you're missing. Well, we don't want you to know what you're missing. We want you to come so that you know how delicious Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse is. So if you are looking for a true Nashville dining tradition, make a reservation today by either calling 615-329-4349, going online to jimmykellys.com/reservations, or booking through OpenTable. And if you mention 1025 The Game in your reservation notes, you will enjoy a free dessert with your meal. So if you are looking for a wonderful dining experience tonight, tomorrow before the Vanderbilt game, Jimmy Kelly's is where you should come.
Bring it
Be
on.
there or be square.
At least you didn't threaten them this time.
Well, if I'm telling them be square, that's almost like a threat too. You don't want
It's-
to be
There's
square.
still some firmness behind that.
Yeah, be there or be square.
But we've got this wide open
L7.
new place that they've built, a new section of it on top, on the roof, and they've got all the TVs. So this is a great place to come watch the games and then go over to the Vanderbilt Georgia State game. So I've got your Saturday planned.
Yeah, come
It's
down.
like Will Ferrell in Old School. He says, we got a nice little Saturday.
Come
But
on,
instead
man.
of going to Bed Bath and Beyond and on the places, you come to Jimmy Kelly's and you get the free dessert. Then you go to the Vanderbilt game.
Exactly. Or you just stay at Jimmy Kelly's.
You can do that
and
too.
watch the game.
Yeah.
There's cheesecake, there's key lime
Everything.
pie, there's creme brulee, there's tiramisu.
Yum.
The world is your oyster, which
See,
they
and
also
then the
have
lights
at
dim
Jimmy
down.
Kelly.
Now we got mood lighting.
Now
too.
we got
Yeah.
moonlight. Come on, bring your girl here. Girls, bring your guys here. Come on now. They setting the table for it. Come on.
Okay, let's get back to the Indianapolis Colts. But before we do, Wes texted in about our conversation on the offensive line. And it says, is it too late to give Nicholas Petit-Frere a call? Do not put that evil on me, Wes. He says he's kidding. I don't care. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that here on you, Ricky Bobby.
That is a
one
name
of the
that
funniest movies
We should
ever.
not be mentioning.
No.
Exactly. Oh man.
It gives me the willies, not Willie Dominic. It gives me the willies anytime I hear Nicholas Petit-Frere.
Poor
Ooh.
Nicholas. Poor Nicholas.
So let's talk about the other side
Uh-huh.
of the ball. The Colts, as we've mentioned, are 2-0 for the first time in 16 years.
Mhm.
I believe they were the first team in NFL history to score on each of their first 10 offensive possessions of the season. They are also the first team in the Super Bowl era to not punt in either of their first two games of a season. So the Colts offense, it's rocking and rolling. Daniel Jones looks like a new man. Jonathan Taylor, he gashed the Denver Broncos last week. 25 carries for 165 yards, plus 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. And need I remind you what happened last time Jonathan Taylor faced the Tennessee Titans in Week 16 of last season? 218 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on 29 carries. You could even go back to the year before that when Zach Moss, of all people, had 23 carries for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Tennessee Titans. So let's
That
just
was a
say
nightmare.
the Indianapolis Colts have had their way with the Titans in the running game. But I look at this Colts team. Again, I mentioned a rejuvenated Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor just racking up hundreds of yards from scrimmage. They've got a young core of pass catchers. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, rookie tight end Tyler Warren, A.D. Mitchell. I think this Colts offense, it looks dangerous. And with L'Jarius Sneed
It's the
expected,
last thing I would have said
Yes.
about the Colts offense is after 2 weeks. Like if you told me this in August, dangerous, the Colts offense, no.
no,
But-
Don't make
but
me
hey,
laugh.
But they haven't punted.
they haven't punted.
Well, they did punt. They got a penalty, and then they got a 15-yard penalty, and they retained the ball. So
Well,
they
it
did
doesn't.
punt
It
once.
doesn't count in the record book. It doesn't count in the record
No,
book.
you're right.
But with L'Jarius Sneed expected to play, but we saw how L'Jarius Sneed was last week. He seemed to run out of gas as the game went on against the LA Rams. It appears more likely than not that Jarvis Brownlee will not play on Sunday, which means Jalen Armour Davis, one of the Titans waiver claims, would be starting in his place.
Yikes.
You said it for me, Willie.
Well, and also no T Sweat, right? So
No,
this is
with all of the things I just read off
Yeah.
about Jonathan Taylor. No T'Vondre
no
Sweat. That's a
T'Vondre
big
Sweat.
deal
I mean,
as well.
this is a challenge. D-Mates, this is what I want to ask you. And Adam, you sent a really good article from The Athletic. Ted Gwynn is a very good film analyst, and he teamed up with James Boyd, who covers the Colts for The Athletic, on kind of why it's worked so well. And it did remind me, Shane Steichen's offense in the younger years of Jalen Hurts, which kind of got him this job, right? It got him the head coaching job, his work with the Eagles. Is Daniel Jones maybe a poor person's version of Jalen Hurts, just good enough to be a passer that with decent weapons can have some success, and he can run like Hurts? And it seems like that run-pass option stuff is what the theme of Gwynn's analysis is. They're kind of running the Eagles' offense that they wanted to run with Anthony Richardson, but Jones is better at running it.
Well, Jones has shown us that because he did it with the Giants the year they went to the Super Bowl, meaning went to the playoffs. Saquon Barkley was in the backfield. He showed you that if he doesn't have to carry the team, if things can be a little less stressful for him, then he can deliver the ball to the guys that need to get the ball. And also he can run. He can do some of those things that Jalen Hurts does. He can manage the game well because he understands that those other guys will take up for him. They will take up the slack. He's not one of those guys that can go out and win a game for you. It may have looked that way to the Giants. That's why they gave him that big contract. But they quickly found out that without Saquon Barkley, he went back to being a below average quarterback. You put guys around him, Jonathan Taylor, the receivers that he got, Warren, the tight end. I love that kid. He is going to be a nightmare for the AFC
I am
South for
expecting
many years.
I
The kid's good if he don't get hurt.
I said this, I think after the Colts drafted Tyler Warren, that I just had this sinking suspicion that Tyler Warren is going to be a Titans killer as long as he is wearing a Colts uniform. And they could start on Sunday, but I just have a feeling that longtime Titans fans, think about all of the Colts players in history that have burned the Titans. I'm sure somebody's coming to mind right now as I say this to you.
Dallas Clark.
Well,
That's going way back.
Tyler Warren could be the next Dallas Clark. I don't know.
Yeah, but this offense, these young guys are playing really well. But if you look at Indianapolis and what they're able to do, I named off yesterday the skilled individuals that they drafted. These ain't free agents. They drafted every last one of these guys. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell. They drafted those guys. You want to know who else they drafted? Every single one of their offensive linemen. Every single one of them was a pick by the Indianapolis Colts. From the first round, I think, to the sixth round, somewhere around there. Led by Quentin Nelson. And if you watch that offensive line, that is you wonder why Denver didn't win that game. Well, they couldn't get the pressure, or they couldn't affect Daniel Jones the way they were at Cam Ward or the outside guys. That is a really good offensive line. And Indianapolis reminds me of the Indianapolis Colts when they had Andrew Luck. That's what this team is right now. They got a playmaker or two outside. Matter of fact, I think they may have more playmakers because when Luck, what you call it, was sort of at the tail end. The kid that was there with Harrison, Reggie Wayne was sort of at the tail end, but then they had the other kid that was like that was going to be their number one. They may be better from a skill standpoint than that team was. Only thing they needed was, and Shane Steichen knew it. That's why he made the change so quickly. They needed a quarterback that could run this offense because Richardson couldn't. And now they think they found somebody that can run that offense, and that offense is hella balanced. And they never let you get a beat on a quarterback, really.
Let's go to Scott in Hendersonville on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Scott, thank you for calling. Please go ahead. Scott, you there? Scott, call back.
Scott.
Come on, Scott.
Scott.
Come on, man.
Come on,
that was
Scott.
your moment,
Stay sharp.
Scott.
Stay sharp. It's Friday afternoon.
Come
Let's
on,
go.
Scott.
Here's one quick thing that Gwynn mentions about sort of the Eagle-esque offense that Shane Steichen is running, and Daniel Jones seems like he is taking to it. Really, obviously, the stats would tell you he's taking to it great. The coach, Steichen, calls good plays that get Jones's first read open. The run-pass option package, I'm going to get the wide receiver translator here, is one of the most creative in the league. And remember, you've got Jonathan Taylor as the run option. That's a pretty good threat. That should open some things up down the field. But it says he creates simple reads. They're running a lot of the same concepts over and over again with different window dressings to disguise them. So nothing too complicated, but they're getting the reads that they're looking for. So to me, that would be something to watch. Can they take away that first read and take him out of his comfort zone a little bit?
Well, they can take it away if they stop the run. That's the only way you take away the first read. If you stop the run, because that offense is predicated on play action. They want everything to look exactly like they're running the football. So not having T Sweat may be an even bigger deal this week because of the back that they're facing and how they want to run that offense. So if they can't stop the run, he's going to be able more times than not to have an opportunity to hit his first read.
All right, Scott in Hendersonville, we'll give you a second chance. Scott, thank you for calling. Please go ahead. Scott. Okay, Scott, you're banned.
Yeah,
you're banned, Scott. Scott, you're banned.
I mean, it was coming in. I was hearing the crackling. I was hearing the static. Like
he must be on the phone. He's just saying he's hanging up. He's got to be hanging up.
You're banned.
Get banned forever, Scott.
I have high standards for our callers. You're banned.
The standard is say hello when we say
banned forever or just banned for the rest of the hour?
Scott will have to text us at 615-737-1025 and issue a
okay.
formal apology for not answering the phone twice when I called on him. If he can do that, he's allowed to call again.
Can he throw his phone company under the bus?
Yes, he can.
And blame it on them.
No,
I'm
not.
No, because he's on the phone.
He did say that like there was something weird with his connection. I don't know why.
Well, tell him to
he
Texas.
said that though.
Okay,
Tell him to Texas.
Scott.
Texas.
He was endeavoring to call the show.
Scott, it's a soft ban, okay? It's a soft ban.
It's not an SMU ban.
It's a ban today.
It's not the death penalty. Like
It's not the
Exactly.
NCAA equivalent of the death penalty. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the matchup between the Colts and the Titans at Nissan Stadium this Sunday. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, you may have played this game at a party at one point in your life. I wouldn't know what that's like because nobody ever invited me to parties. But Willie and Derek, they're a party every day. So we're going to play a good old-fashioned party game, called Would You Rather about the Tennessee Titans. And we'll do that next. 615-737-1025. The Blue Raiders will host Marshall tomorrow at Floyd Stadium at 6 o'clock. Catch all of the action on Totally Hits 93.3 with coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at TotallyHitsNashville.com. D. Mace Fingan and Donick 1025, The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Fingan, and David Janes here with you. Willie, Derek, and I are live from Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse in Midtown Nashville. We thank them for their outstanding hospitality. And if you want to experience that same outstanding hospitality, you should come on out to Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse. You can call them at 615-329-4349. Go online to jimmykellys.com/reservations or book through Open Table. And if you mention 1025 The Game when you're making that reservation, you will enjoy a free dessert with your meal. So if you are looking for something to do tonight, maybe you have a first date and you still don't know what you're going to do a couple of hours before you're supposed to meet up, Jimmy Kelly's. You need a place to go to before the Vanderbilt game tomorrow? Jimmy Kelly's. You like steak? Jimmy Kelly's.
If you ain't got nothing to do, come on through. All right.
You're just
Jimmy
full of
Kelly's.
slogans today.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Threats,
walking tagline.
slogans.
You will not be sorry. I promise you. This is a
Yes.
first-class operation.
Food
there,
is great.
Jimmy Kelly. It's great.
And they got TVs on right now.
I just
Sports behind
stumbled.
me.
It opened in
right.
1934, and when you walk in, you will feel the history.
I got that vibe when I
Did you
walked
get
in.
the vibe? Yeah.
Yes. I stumbled across an interesting stat before we get to our party game here. I stumbled across an interesting stat during the break. Apparently, Cam Ward is the only quarterback selected number 1 in the common draft era to not throw an interception through his first 2 games of a season. First 2 starts, I should say.
And to top that off, and I mean, we talked about it earlier in the week. I mean, he had the 1 fumble, but if you look at outside of that, he hasn't had any turnover-worthy plays outside of that fumble that he had. What was it, late in the second half or
Against
early in
Denver?
against Denver early in the second half. So he's managed to take care of the ball and not put the ball in harm's way. And as he continues to learn his offense and the guys around him continue to get better, I think you will see him starting to expand that.
Cam Ward has been charged with 1 turnover-worthy play by PFF through 2 games. It came against the Rams. I'm not exactly sure which one that
was
would
Guessing
be.
that's the
fumble.
one he actually
Yeah.
turned over.
Yep, that's
Maybe?
probably it. So let's get to our party game. Again, as I said before the break, I didn't go to many parties when I was younger. Not because I was too cool. It was because I was too uncool to go to parties. So
Don't worry,
I didn't play those cool games like Spin the Bottle or 7 Minutes in Heaven or anything like
I
that.
never played those games either, man.
Willie, though.
Oh, I did not. I did
Really,
not.
though?
I really wish I had.
Exactly.
Willie
I never
is
got
being
to go
modest.
into the, get the bottle and you go into
Exactly.
the closet
No,
like
I never
some of
did
these
any of
TV
that.
shows or movies. I'm familiar.
Yeah, gosh.
But we're going to play a game that most of you have probably played in your lives. It's called Would You Rather.
Yes, I played that before.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you rather? That's usually how it starts.
Yes. Would you rather? And we are going to do it this way.
Uh-huh.
Would you rather be the Tennessee Titans or one of these other winless NFL teams? And I'm not just talking about this season. I'm talking about the overall situations of those franchises, their trajectories, all of those things. So the Tennessee Titans are one of 10 winless teams in the NFL. Joining the Titans on that illustrious list, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the first 0-3 team this season after losing last night, the Cleveland Browns, the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the New York Giants, the Chicago Bears, the New Orleans Saints, and the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'm not going to include the Kansas City Chiefs because I know the Chiefs are 0-2, but look what the Chiefs have been doing. I think any Titans fan would rather have multiple championships and Patrick Mahomes than what they have here. I may even say the same about Houston. I know Houston has struggled this season, but CJ Ward has shown that he can be a successful quarterback at the NFL level. So there are a couple of situations that I am going to pick out here. And I want all of us to answer these questions. And I want you to as well at 615-737-1025. By the way, before we get to that. So Greg, remember Greg got on my list yesterday?
Yes.
Because he was wrong when he tried to correct me that Nashville SC's coach, his name is Brian Callahan. It's spelled differently. He asked me if Scott from Hendersonville has moved up above him in the rankings for not answering the phone twice.
2 failed calls.
I said, it's close. Then Greg said, dweebs. You're back on the list, Greg. You're back on the
I'm
list.
thinking a dweeb.
Well, you don't call Derek or Willie dweebs either.
Exactly.
You are back on the list, Greg.
Just because we didn't play spin the bottle.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come on.
Did
now.
you play spin the bottle, Greg?
I doubt
Okay.
it.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so I want you all to play as well at 615-737-1025. And there is, I tested this out this morning. I went to Predators training camp. Next man up with Jake Lyman and Connor Newt, plus Chase McCabe were there when I was there. And I told them that we were going to do this. And there was one team that they all sort of keyed in on as this is a tough one. So we will get to that at one point. But let's start with this. Would you rather be the Tennessee Titans or, let's lump them together, either of the New York-based / New Jersey-based football franchises, the Jets or the Giants? And I sent y'all a clip today of WFAN and one of their hosts saying, this could be the last meaningful football Friday in our town because these teams are 0-2, and if they go 0-3, it's over. So we're not alone, Titans fans, Tennessee, Nashville residents, and feeling hopeless, feeling hopeless about our teams, if I can spit it out. So would you rather be the Titans or either one of the New York / New Jersey-based football franchises?
First of all, it's a sad part about our business that these clips, because I saw that guy just absolutely destroy the Mets earlier when the Mets were in their tailspin, which they're still trying to get out of. But the sad part about our business is the louder you are, you give a very, tilted text like that, or rant like that. It gets people's attention. He didn't really say anything. He was just howling at the moon, basically. But that aside, editorial aside, I would rather be the Titans than the Jets, because I think the Jets have. It's looking like they're missing their chance. Like they built up what looked like a pretty good roster, and they didn't get the quarterback play, and now it looks like the window is closing. They just haven't been able to fix the offensive line issues and some of the other things that it just hasn't connected. But that's the history of, or at least recent history of the Jets, but really the history of the Jets for 50, 60 years, right? They just have never really had long stretches of success. So I think I'd rather be almost anybody than the Jets. So that puts it there. The Giants, I think, we don't know about Dart yet. I just have their recent success isn't been good, but historically the Giants have known what they're doing a lot better. So I think I would rather be the Giants than the Titans.
They
right
also
now.
have Malik Neighbors at wide receiver, who looks like a stud wide receiver.
They
which
got
the
some
Tennessee Titans
major
do not
problems,
have.
but yeah, and we'll see if Dart is the key, right?
Mhm.
If Dart ends up being good, which in a few weeks we might start to see what he's got, but they have dreadful offensive line play, like the Titans, and not a great defense. But yet it's a toss up. But I would rather be the Giants.
Derek?
I would rather be the Giants. I just think, for one, the Titans don't have enough young playmakers, guys that have shown they can be playmakers. They don't have a bunch of those guys. Hell, they don't have really any that have shown consistent playmaking ability. And I'm talking about their young guys. But when you look at the Giants, obviously their number one playmaker is Malik Neighbors, and he is quickly becoming one of the best wide receivers, not let alone one of the best young wide receivers, but one of the best wide receivers in the game. But then you look on the defensive side of the ball, they have two guys that have shown they can play in this league, in Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence. And then they go and draft Abdul Carter this past offseason, this past draft. And they have some other players on that team. Former first round Brian Burns out of Florida State. He got drafted first round. I forgot the team he got drafted by in the first round. But
Carolina, I believe.
I think it was. Yeah, you're right. but they have these guys that they've drafted that have shown that they can be players, and then they got other guys that they put together. But more importantly, they got a bunch of young guys that have shown their worth in this league. They're just trying to match the quarterback up to their who they believe is an elite wide receiver. And now Cam Scatterboo is in the backfield. So
That's my guy.
If
Boot
he
and
can
rally.
drum up anything that he did during the playoffs, I mean, they're going to have themselves a good bet. But I think the Giants are just in a better position
Okay.
as of now. If I'm looking for a team if I'm picking a team out of those three.
I would agree. I would take the Giants situation over the Titans situation right now. I also agree I would rather be the Titans than the Jets.
Oh,
So
yeah, definitely.
I think we're all in agreement there. We'll do some rapid fire here because I do want to get to the one that Jake, Connor, and Chase thought was most interesting. I'll just tell you right now, I'd rather take the Titans situation than the Saints situation.
Oh,
Take
yeah.
it from me. I'd rather be
Yeah,
the Titans.
I would.
than the
I
Saints
think.
right
I think
now.
we would be unanimous. in
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And we're talking about like
Salary cap situation.
Right, we're talking about like
quarterback
future power
situation.
rankings kind of here. I would also take the Titan situation over the Panther situation, I think. That might be a toss-up. Willie, you seem intrigued by that
I
one.
don't know. I had some. I distinctly remember some people pointing at the Panthers as a team that could make a pretty big jump this year. It hasn't surfaced yet, and I don't know enough about their pieces, but it certainly doesn't look good. So right now, I would hope that the Titans are further along than the Panthers, only because I think at this point, Bryce Young, he's got to now that he's in his third year, he's got to make a huge leap to get to where they hope he will get. So every day that goes by that he doesn't make that leap, it's just looking like he's going to be an okay quarterback and not a star quarterback.
Let's get to the one that Jake, Connor, and Chase thought was the most interesting. Would you rather be, and again, this is about not just this season, I'm talking about a few years down the road based on roster, cap situation, all of those things. Would you rather be the Tennessee Titans or the Chicago Bears?
Why did I know that was going to be the team?
Well, you're a smart
I would
guy.
rather be the Bears. Way more talent on the roster. Way more. They've had way more top 100 picks, top 30 picks. Like, if they can't make it work in the next year or so with all of the assets that they've had, that is on them. But they have, I would rather take that collection of talent and go run with it. That they're so far ahead of the Titans. To me, that's not a toss-up. I will take the Bears hands down.
But the wild card is Caleb Williams. It depends on
But
how you feel about Caleb Williams.
Okay, I'll throw it back to you guys. Is Caleb Williams more of a wild card than Cam Ward? I would say the same. They're both very talented first-round picks. I think Caleb Williams graded way higher coming out of college. I don't know that either one of them is going to make it. So that's a toss-up to me. And so I would say that's a wash. And then the rest of the roster is a no-brainer for the Bears.
I just, from an offensive standpoint, you just kind of sort of look from man to man. I think Caleb and Cam Ward would be, to me, it's a wash. I think because of those two guys, Caleb is still learning because he's been through 2 or 3 different systems or offensive coordinator. Obviously, Cam's learning because he just got in the league. So I think that sort of can be a wash. But if I'm leaning any side, I'm leaning more toward Cam because I know what I have seen from Caleb Williams and I know what I haven't seen from Cam Ward. But then you go to DeAndre Swift. Is that a wash with he in Pollard? Possibly. Some may take Swift over Pollard because he's more of a back that can catch out of the backfield. He's more of a threat out the backfield than say they've used Pollard. DJ Moore, we all know we'll take DJ Moore. Roman Duze, we all know we'll take Roman Duze.
Colston Loveland
Yeah,
and
so,
Cole Kmet.
Exactly.
At tight
So
end.
you're looking at an offense that on paper, if you're just talking about personnel, I'm taking Chicago's.
Right. That's the
You know,
problem.
exactly.
On paper, it's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close.
But
on
but
paper.
you are sitting there wondering why do the Bears never look better? Like, we'll see what Ben Johnson do in the coming weeks, but they've struggled.
But like it could be this, like the Indianapolis Colts, You thought you had a quarterback, but you're going to find out he's not the quarterback for this offense that you want to run. He's not disciplined enough for this offense for you to run it. So it may be another guy that comes in off the bench that ends up
a Daniel Jones.
Exactly. That ends up running that offense.
You know what people speak fondly of is their backup, and I forget the guy's name. He's kind of a no-name guy
for the Bears.
Tyson Bagent.
Tyson Bagent.
Tyson Bagent.
They
had Case Keenum too.
Yeah, they did. They brought him in to sort of be an extra
coach,
tutor for Caleb Williams. But that's a really good one to watch, Caleb Williams. But they have pieces. They have pieces.
So
the Titans have no pieces.
To me, that one's not even. That one's even not a. That's even not a no-brainer to me.
Okay, I blame it on Jake and Connor and Jason. I blame it on them.
Yeah, that's not a no-brainer.
So
Because if you're just looking at the talent,
if we
you would take Chicago, right?
When I'm looking at the talent independent of the quarterback, it's the Bears over the Titans. I'm starting to get convinced, and perhaps this isn't the right way to go about it, but I've read enough and I've listened to enough to have serious questions about Caleb Williams. And there's a larger sample of Caleb Williams than Cam Ward. So there's still the element of the unknown with Cam Ward, which is
not the Bryce Young alarmism yet, but it's moving in that direction. Like, where is it?
That's
this guy's supposed to be a stud.
That's where I'm kind of like, But just that with Cam Ward, there's still that mystery of potential. I mean, Caleb Williams hasn't been in the league for very long, but he has enough games under his belt where you feel like you have an idea of where he might be going. That's the only thing that kept me from definitively saying Bears.
Well, it's always, I've already seen this compared to what I haven't seen, but has potential. I've seen Caleb Williams make mistake after mistake. And when you don't force a quarterback, because there's this fine line between allowing all players, but I think quarterbacks too. There's a fine line with allowing that quarterback to be himself and sort of, make plays within the offense. But there comes a time where he has to be disciplined in the pocket, and he has to be disciplined at offense. Too many times, Chicago allowed him to be undisciplined out of offense. And now it's almost like they can't put the genie back in the bottle. Or if they do, it's going to take a lot of work. That's why he's still making some of these same mistakes, because he's still trying to figure out, how do I play in the pocket? That's why I don't want people to get wild about Cam throwing passes like that, but don't get used to that. Not until he get himself disciplined. And Brian Callahan, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen, because I believe it will. Until they get this man disciplined in the pocket, those will come every so often, but I don't want to get used to that. I just don't. Not until he proves that he's the guy in the pocket.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Good old-fashioned game of Would You Rather. Would you rather be the Titans or one of the other winless NFL teams? Jets, Dolphins, Browns, Texans, Chiefs, Giants, Bears, Saints, Panthers. And I'm not just talking about this season. I'm talking about in the immediate future. 615-737-1025. We'll ask Chad Withrow this question as well. Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick will join us next. 615-737-1025. Also, if you are going to the Titans-Colts game this Sunday, then you should stop by John Bon Jovi's before you head to Nissan Stadium and join 1025 The Game for the pregame show with Big Joe Dubin, Chris Sanders, and our very own Derek Mason from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. The pregame show is brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment, Old National Bank, Circa Sportsbook Kentucky, and Tennessee Brewworks.
Derek Mason here, and if you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. Law Tigers make sure you get the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. Look, they understand how much your bike gear is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired or better yet replaced. Law Tigers is a resource the motorcycle community turns to when in need. So whether it's to support you at an event or if they see you broken down the side of the road, with Law Tigers, you'll never ride alone. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Fusen, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Ave South. Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
The Commodores return to First Bank Stadium tomorrow and take on Georgia State. Pregame begins at 5 on 102.5 The Game with the kickoff at 6:30. Vanderbilt football brought to you by Gary Force Acura, Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse, and Smoky Mountain Tops. And we are at Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse right now in Midtown Nashville, not too far from First Bank Stadium. So if you are looking for a place to go before or after the game, may we suggest Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, pleased to be joined on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, by our friend Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick. And Chad, we were just playing a good old-fashioned party game called Would You Rather, a Titans-themed version of Would You Rather.
Well, first, let's find out if Chad has ever partaken in a game of Would You Rather.
Have you, Chad?
I have absolutely partaken. I'm
figured.
familiar with the game.
Okay.
Big fan of the game, so I'm excited, and I was able to listen to a little bit of you guys, but excited to hear my options.
All right. So
Yes. Has he ever partaken in a Jimmy Kelly's, being a born and raised Nashville native?
Oh hell yeah! I'm a Jimmy Kelly fan.
Okay, yes.
It is a Nashville staple you guys are at right now, and if you give me red meat, I'll eat it. So I'm a big fan of Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse.
good to know. So here's our Titans version of Would You Rather. Would you rather be the Titans or any one of these other winless NFL teams? And we are talking not just this season. We're talking about the trajectory of these franchises. So how many of these situations would you say are worse than the Titans situation right now? The New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns, the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the New York Giants, the Chicago Bears, the New Orleans Saints, or the Carolina Panthers?
So I'm going to say of those teams, I think for sure the Saints and the Panthers are worse off than the Titans. I'm not willing to say yay or nay on the other ones. You know, there's so many unknowns. And I heard you guys talking about it. It's all about quarterback, right? I mean, obviously it's not the Chiefs that you want to switch spots, or that you'd love to switch spots if you were the Titans, but they wouldn't switch spots with the Titans. The Bears have a better nucleus around Caleb Williams, even though I'm not sold on Caleb Williams right now. The Saints don't have a quarterback, and they're going to be really bad. And they don't really have hope in a franchise quarterback on the roster, I don't think. So I will take the mystery box of Cam Ward and what he could be as the number one overall pick over the situation with the Saints. And I'd say the same for the Panthers. There's just a lot of not good with the Panthers with a lack of hope. The Titans' lone hope right now is that Cam Ward hits and that the rookie receivers are going to be better than expected, and they're going to have something moving forward on offense. So it's a small list, guys. I mean, I think it's a great question you threw out. There's probably those two teams are the only ones that I would put ahead of the Titans in that pecking order. I think I'd rather be every other NFL franchise listed that's 0-2, and that's not saying a lot for the Titans.
Even the Jets, the Dolphins, the Browns, the Giants, you would take those over the Tennessee Titans right now?
I would take the Jets' defensive nucleus and the fact that they're going to be drafting a quarterback very high next year in the draft, and the hope of that. It's close, but I would narrowly take the Jets. I also think Aaron Glenn in year one. Here's the other part about this that I'm sure we're going to get to is the Titans have a coach who's got the same record as Ken Wisenhunt when Ken Wisenhunt was fired.
Yeah.
So Aaron Glenn's in game number 3. So maybe Aaron Glenn can get paired up with a good quarterback next year, and they've got a pretty good defense, and the Jets can be something. I'm also factoring into I believe the Titans are going to be starting over with a new coach by year 2 for Cam Ward, and we know how that can stunt the growth process of having a completely new system. Could be new verbiage, could be a lot of new things. So you're almost starting over in year 1 with Cam Ward in year 2. So I have to factor that in when considering the Titans.
Chad, how critical is this game on Sunday, not just for this season, because I think we can all agree we don't have high hopes for this season. We didn't have high hopes for this season when it started before the Titans were 0-2. But I remember last season in week 3, the Malik Willis-led Green Bay Packers came into Nissan Stadium and had their way with the Titans. And 0-3, like, that just feels like the season is a lost cause at this point. Plus, you have to factor in that after this game, the Titans play 3 consecutive road games. So they won't be in town. People won't be going to the games. How critical do you think this game is on Sunday for Tennessee?
It's hugely critical, and especially for the coaching staff more than anything else. And you look at Brian Callahan right now. He's got to show something. There's got to be some level of growth. There's got to be some level of fight with this team. They need to look like professionals. I mean, there are plenty of bad NFL teams in recent history, and every year that they show up and they shellac somebody on the right day, where they have a superior game plan and they go out and they execute and they show something. I want the Titans more than anything to show me something. It's not going to put them in the AFC South race in the end or do anything. But what it's going to do is it's going to knock the Colts back a peg. Their longtime rival that's gotten off to a great start with Daniel Jones. They've yet to punt, I think, this season. So you're going to knock them down a peg, and you're going to show your fan base in this city that you've got a little something. I want to see something from the Titans. I love Taylor Zarzour. I'm sure he's a good guy. I don't know him. But I'm listening to the coach's show, and he opens by saying something about going toe-to-toe with a playoff team on Sunday. And I'm thinking, did we watch the same game? They didn't go toe-to-toe with anybody. They played a decent first half, and like so many Brian Callahan performances in the past, completely wilted in the second half. You could say that's because of personnel or whatever, but the fact is the Titans have been a terrible second-half team, and they run out of steam. I want to see 4 quarters of competent NFL play. And if the Titans can do that, they're going to have a great chance to get the win on Sunday. And I think that would just do so much to raise the spirits of everyone, and it would definitely help Brian Callahan and his entire staff.
But Chad, when you talk about, this team showing something, you're absolutely right. But when you look at, who they have on this team, how much can they show? I think, and let me know if you agree with this. I think a lot of it or all of it has to do with Brian Callahan developing this quarterback. I think that will always be the number one topic inside that building. How is he developing that quarterback? Because he didn't go out and get these players. A lot of these players were here before he got here. Even the guys that they drafted last year, they're showing promise, but now they're hurt. But it's much more for him to develop that quarterback, because the quarterback ultimately lifts the team. And we know right now that Cam Ward can't lift this team because of the ineptness of the roster. So that's the way I look at how do you look at something like that?
Yeah, it's a great question, D-Mace. And they're definitely without J.C. Latham, which is going to impact the offensive development again. T'Vondre Sweat is out, another young piece that you'd hope to like and that would be available. So you got to factor that in. Yeah, I mean, it is all about Cam Ward, no doubt about it. But I do think that defensively, when I say show me something, let's look at the Titans defense. They're good enough to make Daniel Jones punt for the first time this year, right? Like, this is a team that at home, they're good enough to do some things, I think, defensively, even though personnel-wise, they're definitely not, I wouldn't even say mid-tier, but their ceiling is certainly middle of the NFL, I think, on defense. Offensively, there's just got to be growth. We got to see some things. Maybe it's Cam Ward a few times recognizing something a little bit quicker, because his highlights so far this year have been sort of busted plays, eluding pressure, throwing across his body, making a good throw where there's a drop, but just a little bit more execution. I don't think anyone's expecting the world with this Titans team. It's just little incremental steps forward where you start to feel like, okay, now I see what they're trying to do. I don't really understand the identity of this team, and we can point to the GM and the locker room and the personnel or the leaders on the team or the coaching. We can probably point to all of them, but ultimately that falls on the head coach, Brian Callahan, especially when you're an offensive guy as head coach. I need to know what they're attempting to do offensively, and I want to see Cam Ward understanding it and processing it a little bit quicker when it comes to in-game decision-making. And I think just seeing that would be really enough for me to say, okay, let's give it another week. Let's continue to watch this and see this young kid grow, especially if they can continue to get some things from the rookie wide receivers. I think that's the sign of encouragement the Titans fans want to see, and then, quite frankly, they need to see.
Chad Withrow is with us. Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow. So, Chad, let's talk SEC football here for a couple of questions. This is an interesting gauge question for where Tennessee and Vanderbilt are right now. If Vanderbilt were to play at Tennessee tomorrow, what do you think the line would be?
I think it'd be Tennessee by about a touchdown. I think it'd be 6.5 or 7. if the game was played tomorrow, and not because the Neyland Stadium factor would be a big one. But look, I'll say this right now, Willie, they're both playoff teams. 3 games into the season, I think everybody's, people come out of the Tennessee-Georgia game saying, oh, we just watched 2 playoff teams. And I think about Vandy, and I'm thinking, did you see their defense? I get that it was a backup quarterback in the second half, but did you see what they did on the road against the 11th ranked team in the country? I think both are possible playoff teams right now, but I think home field for Tennessee would probably be about a touchdown spread.
I'm not ready to go there with Vanderbilt yet. They have such a tough back half of the schedule, but this leads me perfectly into the next question, Chad. We now are commonly every year looking at SEC baseball and saying to ourselves, okay, in a given year, 14 or 15 out of the 16 teams are NCAA tournament caliber teams. Basketball literally had, 14 make it last year? And yep. I would say all 16 teams either have already beaten a top 25 team or are capable of beating a top 25 team. And I don't know if you could say that every year in the SEC football. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I really believe, like, if you compare it to the Big Ten especially, like Indiana, Illinois, they're going to play in a big game. I think Indiana, Illinois are good teams. If you gave me, let's just take, like, outside of that, what everyone would consider the elite top 3 in the conference right now. Texas, Georgia, LSU. Let's put them in the same group. Now let's put a group of Alabama, Vanderbilt, Tennessee together. Let's say Ole Miss. I'm taking all of those teams, Vandy, Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee. I'm taking them by 10-plus points over Indiana or Illinois right now, based on what I've seen. That's where the SEC is elite, and this year especially. I think 1 through 15, I'm going to put some separation between the top 15 and then Kentucky, who I think just may be pretty bad this year. I think every other team, Willie, is good to very good to great. And that's what's going to make it so hard. And you're right, that's what's going to make it difficult for a Vanderbilt.
Right, and for playoffs in general. Right, because wouldn't you be worried? Yeah, for Tennessee, I agree. Or wouldn't you be worried a little bit from, if you're looking league-wide, you're Greg Sankey, that this is your worst nightmare, in theory, is that you might have what happened last year, even on a bigger level, where there's no easy games. So you could be a really good team and end up 9-3, or if you have a really difficult schedule, 8-4, and you're looking around for. There's no clear 3 or 4 playoff teams. I feel like that could happen.
Yeah, it's sort of the NFL effect, right? They're all going to beat each other up, and then at the end of the year, you're going to have a bunch of teams at 8-4, 9-3. I'll say this: give me the 9-3 SEC team, and I'm no SEC homer when it comes to this. And I think sometimes Nick Saban and others sound a little bit ridiculous when they constantly want to petition for the 9-3 SEC team. I have seen enough to say the 9-3 SEC team versus, let's say, a 10-2 Notre Dame or a 10-2 Clemson. From what we've seen, give me the 9-3 team. I don't care what their schedule was. If they finish 9-3 in this SEC, they deserve a spot over some of those 2-loss teams that we're going to see from other conferences. But to your point, Willie, about the depth of this conference, I think the biggest game of Tennessee's season is next week in Starkville, because I truly believe that they can avoid that Arkansas collapse of a year ago in the second half. And Josh Heupel tends to have one of those a season where he loses a game maybe he shouldn't on the road, or Tennessee just doesn't play that well. That Mississippi State game is the one that I've circled, a road trip, that if they can avoid the upset loss in that one, you get to the bye week at 4-1, they're going to have a great chance, because they're going to have Arkansas and Oklahoma at home. The Alabama trip's going to be tough. We don't know what Florida's going to be at the end of the year. That Vandy game is going to be tough, but it's in Knoxville. There's a lot of opportunities there, but opportunity works both ways when your conference is this good. You got an opportunity to win all of them, and you could lose quite a few of them as well when you look at this league.
I like Tennessee's schedule for the reasons you just said. I want to ask you one question about Georgia. What is your gauge after watching Georgia last week of where they are compared to the level we expect of Georgia, national championship level?
Georgia is Georgia because Gunnar Stockton, I think, is a dude, and I didn't think that going in. I didn't think it going in, Willie, and I thought that guy made some big throws. That 4th and 6 throw to London Humphreys, I mean, Tennessee's got a freshman corner out there. He's in great position. Yes, maybe he could have turned his head around a little bit quicker, but he dropped that thing in a bucket on 4th and 6 for a 28-yard touchdown. He really impressed me in that game and that atmosphere. Now, I will say this. Tennessee's offense is really good, We haven't seen a Josh Heupel offense throw the ball up and down the field, run the ball up and down the field for almost 500 yards the way they did. So maybe that's something to watch, right? Georgia really got tested in that secondary for the first time, and maybe they're a little bit vulnerable there, and we're giving Tennessee a little bit too much credit, and Georgia isn't Georgia on defense. But if I had to bet right now, I think their defense is going to be really good all year, and you're looking at another playoff trip for the Georgia Bulldogs. So, it's disappointing from a Tennessee perspective. They had about 5 or 6 chances to end that game, and they just didn't do it. Credit Georgia, tip your hat. They made more plays in the end. But I think both teams, I think Georgia is Georgia. I think Tennessee's ceiling is way higher than I expected coming into the season because Joey Aguilar is way better than I ever expected.
Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick has been our guest on D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, as he is every Friday afternoon. Chad, great stuff as always. We'll catch up next week.
Always a highlight of my week, gentlemen. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.
You as well. Chad Withrow on the program, 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, Chase and Big Joe had Predators GM Barry Trotz on the program earlier today, and he had an update on an important Predator story. We'll hit on that next. 615-737-1025. Tomorrow's college football game of the week is Auburn versus Oklahoma at 2:30 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. It's presented by Twin Peaks Restaurants and Circus Sportsbook Kentucky. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com.
I'll cover this one quickly because I know everybody's asking.
Yeah.
Where are you on Luke Evangelista in that deal?
Well, I think we're probably in a little bit of a standstill. Their side, I think the one thing that we both agree is in the right term is is sort of a 2-year deal, and it's just at this point it's we're just too far apart right now that we can do a deal. So that's where we are. I don't think there's any ill will on both sides. It's just the business part with Luke, and Luke, he's doing, and his representation are doing what they're doing, and they have that right, just as we have our rights. So we love Luke. I hope we can get something done in the near future, and we've sort of created this opportunity with our young people, Luke being one of them, for especially this year and the following year, where this is really the transitional part of where we're going. So I'm sure we'll get something done at some point, but as of today, we have nothing.
That was Predators GM Barry Trotz earlier today on the Chase and Big Joe show, live from Fordyce Center, Bellevue, where the Predators have opened training camp. Practices continue tomorrow. If you're looking for something to do in the morning, head on out to Fordyce Center, Bellevue for Predators training camp practice. Plus, the Predators open the preseason with their annual doubleheader against the Florida Panthers. First game is at 2 p.m. Second game is at 6 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. But Willie, what did you think of Barry Trotz's update on contract negotiations with Luke Evangelista?
Good stuff from Chase and Joe. And by the way, if you want to hear that interview, it's very Barry Trotz-esque, very detailed. They talk about a lot of different subjects. It will help you get into the season if you're a Predator fan. Adam and I did our part last night on Preds Insiders talking about Evangelista, and we had a really good hour. You can find that out on our website where we archive all of our stuff. But I was listening to Elliot Friedman, who's going to be joining us every Thursday again in our new time slot now. Date and time to be determined. But he mentioned Luke Evangelista. You heard Barry Trotz. The big news clip in there is that Barry Trotz says, we agree basically without saying it. He was like, we think a 2-year deal is in the offing here. I matched that up with what Elliot Friedman said about the negotiations, that the sticking point is a guy named Jack Quinn, who is roughly the same age as Luke Evangelista, and he signed recently a 2-year, $3.375 million deal. 3.37 times 2. So that is the comparable that Luke Evangelista's camp is looking at. And Adam, you and I were kind of ahead of the game here because there was a summer show that we did where we got into this. So you tell me, do you think Evangelista is in that ballpark? And remember the always ever-present no tax state factor, New York versus Tennessee. What factor do you think that is?
I think Luke Evangelista is in the Jack Quinn ballpark. And again, that cap hit is 3.375. I would probably put Quinn ahead of Evangelista. You know, I've always thought that a 2-year deal with a cap hit between $2.5 and $3 million makes sense for Luke Evangelista. That's where I've sort of landed on this throughout the summer as he went unsigned. But as Barry Trotz said, the two sides are at a stalemate right now. Trotz has also said that he doesn't anticipate this bleeding too much into the season. One thing to keep in mind, and Willie, correct me if I'm wrong, Luke Evangelista has until December 1st to sign a contract as a restricted free agent. If he is unsigned by that date, he is ineligible to play in the NHL this season.
Right. So he doesn't have much leverage, as we talked about throughout the week. That's one of several reasons that he doesn't. His only recourse is to hold out. And I think when you look at all of the wingers, and this is something that Barry Trotz talked about with Chase and Big Joe, they have a lot of wingers that they could plug in there and take a look at, right? And I'm not saying that right now they're better than Luke Evangelista. Evangelista has done more than those guys in the league so far. But the fact is that Evangelista is not a huge play driver. He's a good hockey player who's got a chance to be, I think, a very good player in the league. But I don't see him as a guy that is a needle mover necessarily on his own. And I think when you're in that position, it's hard to get into that. My guess is if you factor in what 3.3 would translate to a non-tax state, maybe that's the sweet spot. Because I think the Predators are willing to wait it out a little bit. And as I've mentioned a couple times this week, I don't think Evangelista would do himself any favors by sitting out too many times, simply because the team has gotten off to such poor starts the last 2 years. I think there's an increased emphasis on every training camp practice, even more so than there has been in a while, because they want to get off to a good start. They have to get off to a good start if they're going to change the feeling of the team right now. So I'm with you. I don't watch Jack Quinn play all the time, but he was a high first-round pick, right? And I think that he's probably got a little higher ceiling than Evangelista. And so that's why I think they have taken a leap of faith. And I think also if you're the Predators, you can also say, hey, I can't give a comparable to the Sabres. The Sabres aren't exactly the best at evaluating talent, putting talent together. It's not trying to be mean about it, but just because Jack Quinn is doing this, it doesn't mean that I have to believe that Luke Evangelista is worth the same amount of money. It's not that simple.
Quickly, one question from Jeff on our text line. Based on the salary cap going up, the full Jack Quinn contract is a low ball offer for a player they intend to play in a top 6 role. Do you think that?
Why do you think they intend to play Luke Evangelista in the top 6 role?
Well, this is Jeff. This is not me. Jeff is saying, based on the salary cap going up, the full Jack Quinn contract would be a low ball offer for Evangelista, who Jeff says they intend to play in a top 6 role, which I don't not disagree with.
I don't think that there's been any I intend to play. Luke Evangelista has not been in a consistent top 6 player to this point. Am I wrong about that?
Say that one more time.
Has Luke Evangelista spent extensive time in the top 6? He's been in and out of the top 6.
He's a middle 6 player. He's a second or third line
I
player.
would define it that way. That's
He's
a good
middle
way. He's
6
a
player.
top 9 player for sure. He's definitely not a top line player.
Yes, he's a second or third line player / middle 6 player.
If we're being honest, second line, I don't think he's part of a loaded second line. He's not the reason that the second line is loaded. He could play on a second line if he's playing with the right 2 other players.
Right. He was on
be a nice piece.
He was on my projected second line in the summer once the dust settled on free agency. I put him on the second line.
He's also been a healthy scratch.
Yes.
More than once in his career. So he's been up and down. He didn't have a great year last year. He was injured last year. I'm just playing both sides. I hope Luke Evangelista signs tonight. They need him in there. They need everybody they can get. But when you're looking at Reed Schaefer, Joachim Kemmel, other guys that they would like to take a look at, they can move forward for a while without Luke Evangelista. I look at that number. I think that's in the ballpark, but I would go slightly under, especially if you should angle for the discount. Use the advantage you have when you're in a no tax state, as it is now wide open. Everybody acknowledges that.
Brad Marchand said it when the Florida Panthers returned for training camp. He said, if the Panthers did not play in a no tax state, I probably wouldn't be here.
Right. And so he's that guy that brought it to light that everybody's been talking about. And I think the Predators have to wield that advantage that they have.
615-737-1025. Again, the Predators open the preseason with a doubleheader, as they usually do, against the Florida Panthers. First game is at 2 p.m. Second game is at 6 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. But it's Friday. It's nearly 5 o'clock, so you know what that means. It's time for Ask D-Mace. If you have questions for Derek Mason, call us, text us right now, 615-737-1025. It can be about sports, the Titans, food, life. You need some advice, love, whatever it is. Derek Mason is here for you. So call us and text us, 737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Also, our show will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday prior to the Monday Night Football game. Head up there and watch the Lions-Ravens game, plus ask about Circus' giveaway of a trip to Las Vegas for the Titans-Raiders game in October.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Garrett Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now, D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's time for Ask D-Mace on D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes. I almost forgot my own name there for a second, and that's because we are live at Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse, and they are feeding us. Sorry,
Listen,
David.
Ask me how good this lemon pie is.
Hey,
This
hey,
lemon
D-Mace.
pie, lemon pie.
Hey, D-Mace,
lime
how
pie.
good is that lemon pie?
Boy, it make you want to slap your mama. That's how good it is. It make you want to slap your mama. Man,
Now, why would you want to go ahead and do
that's how
all
good it is.
do that?
You just don't care. You just want more of that.
Okay.
It's so good.
So come on down and get it. Woo, woo,
We've
woo.
had some steak. We've had
Mouth-watering.
And I got to, there's just like a smorgasbord of dessert here. Man, I'm going to have to go work out after this.
Seriously. And we're inviting people to make a reservation because that's what we're looking for this weekend. They've got this brand new rooftop where we are situated today with all of the TVs. And so let's just say tomorrow you want to make a day of it. You're going to the Vanderbilt game against Georgia State. This would be a perfect launching point. Have yourself a nice afternoon, watch the games, enjoy this place. And we're going to hook you up. Mention 102.5 The Game in your reservation notes. You can book it through Open Table. You can call 329-4349 right now or go online at jimmykellys.com. Put us in the reservation notes, 102.5 The Game, and we'll hook you up with a free dessert with your meal. So we got you hooked up, and we have the desserts right here. Holy cow.
Willie, I'm telling you.
Derek, you
I might
need
go
to
into a
keep
diabetic coma, man, in a second.
you
Man.
need to keep
This
your
is so good. I'm just like a kid. It's just like, man, it's the inner big guy in me. It's the inner big guy in me. I just want to eat it all, man.
Well, here's the problem. The next two segments are all about you.
I know.
So you can't eat.
You can't be chewing and you have to
I
show
can't go
some
sit in the
willpower.
corner. We
No,
can't
we
get
need you.
AI
We need
to
you.
do this
I
for me.
can. I'll see you guys later.
All right, what we got?
If you've got questions for Derek, call us or text us right now at 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Derek also likes a good dad joke. So if you have
Yes.
a dad joke for Derek,
Can I throw in with the dad jokes? I know are coming. Can I throw in one like non-football question, non-sports question?
course.
To kind of get it started. This is the
Yeah.
kind of thing we'd like to know from D-Mace.
Yes.
D-Mace, what was the first concert you attended without any grown-ups there?
Ooh, first concert I attended without any grown-ups. It was in college. Man, who did we go see? Was it? I forgot what group it was, but that was my first time. It wasn't until I was in college that.
And you
I
can't
went-
remember who it is.
I
They couldn't have
can't
been that good of a
remember.
show then.
No, it was a good. Was it Wu-Tang? It may have been Wu-Tang. But they came to.
It
Michigan
may have
State.
been. Come
They
on.
came to state, and that was my first concert without
I hope they're not
adults.
listening right now saying,
Yeah.
you don't remember our concert,
Yeah.
D-Mace? Come on.
Wu-Tang, man. That's what it was. Wu-Tang.
Okay, so that's
This
your answer.
Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang.
Say it with authority.
Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is my answer. Wu-Tang's my answer.
615-737-1025.
What's your
Ask
answer,
D-Mace.
Willie?
My answer?
yes.
Genesis. Phil Collins in the Orlando Citrus Bowl.
Wow.
Oh, it was awesome. It was sold out. It was big time.
Mine was
Peak-
probably
Peak Genesis, 1986.
Mm.
mine was
Invisible
probably some emo band at some small club somewhere as a teenager. The first concert I ever went to, period, and this shows you how young I am relative to Derek and Willie, was No Doubt and Weezer in the mid 90s.
Oh wow.
But you had to have
Mom and Dad were there.
chaperones.
Yeah,
Yes.
chaperones, yes.
Okay,
Mom and Dad were there.
that's a pretty good show though.
Yes.
Did your parents enjoy that?
Yes.
Okay, so
That was Tragic Kingdom era, No Doubt. So the
Yes.
height
They were-
of
they were-
Gwen Stefani's
they were
powers.
big. They were big.
Well, she got much bigger than that actually, but that was
so
a good
you
show.
saw them on the way up. You're saying
Right when they had started
okay.
bursting into the mainstream, I would
Okay.
say. All right, 615-737-1025. Let's start on our phone line with Nate from Columbia. Nate, thank you so much for calling. Please go ahead.
Short and simple. Derek, what is your favorite dessert?
Thank you, Nate.
Ooh, my favorite.
Is it on the table
dessert?
right now?
All of these are my favorites today. Each and every one of them. But my favorite, would a cookie be considered a dessert?
Yeah. You could have a cookie
Chocolate
for dessert.
chip cookies are my favorite. Warm chocolate chip cookies. There's nothing like it. Nothing. I mean, nothing in the world. That and chocolate cake.
I will
Those
tell
two.
you what I am a sucker for. It's when a restaurant uses a deep dish pan and has the deep dish cookie. They put it in the oven, put some vanilla ice cream on top. That's the good stuff.
Okay.
That is good. Just like this. What is that? What we have here is it pie? Apples?
There's some key lime pie over there.
In here, apples with
creme
some
creme brulee.
with some ice cream that's melting over the top of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's look good.
That, I was, my computer was blocking that.
Sorry,
David.
David.
I'm
We're making David.
I might have to bootleg that right out of here.
David is having some serious FOMO right now.
Big time.
Sorry, David.
It's all good. It's all good, guys.
Who we got next?
Let's go to Dustin from Hopkinsville on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Dustin, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
What's up, guys? How you doing,
What's
mates?
that?
I got a little dad joke for you. I get tired of hearing these dad jokes. And this one, it's middle of the road, but you got to be, most of the time you got to be present, and it's better for little kids. But D Mace, I know where you got your shoes at.
Where's that?
On your feet.
I like that one.
You
I like
one?
that one.
Little kids eat it
I
up.
like that one. Yes. I like that one. I like that one. That was a good one.
Hey, man. So with not getting anywhere but the hearts and minds of people, not political or anything, but in this crazy world, what's one piece of advice you could give a young man growing up to keep him, straight and narrow, always even keel, man? Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Dustin.
Oh man, what would I tell a young man? The same thing I tell, my son: treat people how you want to be treated. Respect people, and demand their respect as well. And just love on your people, as I tell everybody every day. Love on your people, and hard work does pay off. I don't want kids to forget that hard work does pay off.
One texter about first concert without a chaperone. One texter says, mine was John Fogerty when I was 11.
What?
In 1997 at Starwood. My 13-year-old sister and I were the only ones standing and cheering, so all of the older people got mad at us. So they told security to make us sit down. Instead, we got moved to the front row.
That's what I'm
Hey,
talking
front
about.
row. Okay.
Exactly. Must be in the front row.
One
Can't remember that
texter,
commercial.
one texter has a dad joke for you.
Okay.
Why can't you trust atoms? ATOMS, not me, Adam, but atoms.
Man, I heard this one before. What is it?
Because they make up everything.
Yeah, you got one. Okay. All right.
Clever.
I like that one.
That's a
I like that. That's a
highbrow
good one.
dad
That's a
joke
good
right
one.
there.
Chris on our text line says, D-Mace, I could not find a reliable 40 time for you when you played ball. However, at age 51, do you think you could smoke Xavier Restrepo in a 40-yard dash?
Oh my goodness. I am not listen. I'm not going to disrespect that man like that. He better win. I would assume he would win. But nah, I smoke it.
The competitive juices are going
nah.
right now. I can see them flowing.
Exactly. I can run a 4.7.
He ran a 4.83, it
I can
looks
run
like.
a 4.8. I got to make sure my hamstrings are loose.
You wouldn't do it right after leaving Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse.
heck
so.
no. I'm not doing that.
Do you remember what you ran at the 40 in the coming out of college?
At the combine, I ran a 4.5. At Michigan State's Pro Day, I ran a 4.3.
Oh,
a 4.3?
No, 4.43. Excuse me.
4.43.
Yeah, 4.43.
I was going to say 4.3. Like, how
I
did
had
you
some
slip to the
speed.
fourth round?
I had some speed, man.
Yeah.
I had some speed.
Okay.
I had a little, not a lot, just a little, just enough to run away from people.
Mike on our text line says, Derek, what was the angriest you ever saw Air McNair in a game or practice?
Never.
Never angry.
I never. Steve, angry to Steve is he'll say a word like the F word, or You know, he didn't get down on. He didn't like throw helmets and yell and scream. I mean, I guess the maddest. Again, it's hard to ask because I don't think I've ever known Steve to get that mad. Like, he's gotten passionate about some things throughout the game, but he never got like angry like that.
We've seen Cam Ward do the. Remember the play to DK where he was saying, cut to the middle more. Like, there was that one where he used somebody.
That stuff like
McNair didn't do much of that, did he?
Nah, he didn't. But that's not anger. That's just correction. Like, like you got to get in there, or you got to cut it out. That's more so correction than anger. So that Steve did that. You know,
he did. I don't remember
more times
much
than
of
not.
that.
Yeah, he
not
did
very
that.
demonstrative though.
Not necessarily like out there on the field, but when we get as we going back to the huddle, hey, you got to bend that in and stuff like that. So, but he wasn't one of those guys that would sit there and berate a player. I don't think we had anybody like that on our team during those years. Period, because we all respected one another and we knew how hard our jobs were.
One texter says, Derek, first thing, I am the South Carolina fan that said if our O-line shows up that Vandy didn't stand a chance. Well, they didn't. So Vandy beat the brakes off my Gamecocks. And Willie, you can answer this question too. Do you think that if Lenora Sellers is back, they can beat Missouri? I know it's not all on Sellers, but doesn't it make it more possible? The line on that game, if I recall correctly, was it 10?
Well, he's been upgraded to probable. So I don't know.
I'm checking the line right now.
I'm looking at it. It is 9.5. Still, that seems high to me.
But their defense got exposed too by Vandy.
Yes.
So it wasn't just that Lenora Sellers was out. I think their defense got exposed. Now, him being in the game, does it take some of the pressure off the defense possibly because they're not on the field as much? Possibly, yes. So that may help. That's sort of like an indirect thing that can help the defense when they're not on the field as much. But, I mean, unless the defense plays better, whether Lenora Sellers plays or not, they're not going to win that game.
For a Vanderbilt follower, and I have watched all of Vanderbilt's games, I am very interested in this game because I think Vanderbilt wants to know how good is South Carolina. They went all the way out of the top 25 after that game.
It'd be good if South Carolina wins.
Missouri is in the top 25 and a 9.5-point favorite. And they've beaten Central Arkansas, Kansas, and Louisiana. So I am surprised that line is that high. I think, like, just last week, South Carolina was 11. They're a 9.5-point, and we feel like Sellers is going to play. My sense is South Carolina should be closer than that. That should be a close game to me.
If I am Vandy faithful, because of how strong the SEC is, it would be good in a sense that South Carolina wins because you beat South Carolina when they were a ranked team. South Carolina beats Missouri when they're a ranked team. Then if you beat Missouri, that's better for you because you're talking about strength of schedule now. So if I'm doing anything, I'm pulling for South Carolina to win because you've already beaten them.
And
so
Missouri
you don't need to, exactly.
Missouri comes here in a few weeks.
Exactly.
One texter says, hey, Derek, what's the difference between Michigan State football and Cheerios?
Okay. Based on what his answer is, he may go from being the most loved person in the world to the most hated person in the world.
What's the answer?
I don't know.
Cheerios belong in the bowl.
See, now he's the most hated person. That wasn't even funny. That wasn't even funny. I'm not going to tell my kids. I'm going to put Michigan name. I'm going to insert Michigan name.
One texter says, what would you set the odds that College Game Day is at LSU Vanderbilt?
Ooh.
Which is in Nashville, and that is November 8th.
So we got, what, a month?
A month and a half.
Month and a half.
All right, so let's just lay it out there, what Vanderbilt's got.
I've got the schedule in front of me. So before they host LSU on October 18th, so it's closer than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
My fault.
They host Georgia State tomorrow, Utah State next Saturday, then they go to Alabama on October 4th. So they have 3 more games. So it's LSU at Vanderbilt Saturday, October 18th.
Oh, if they beat Bama in Bama, game day, yeah, they would need to be here when they play LSU.
I don't think there'd be any question
Yes.
if they beat Alabama.
Yeah.
But let's say that they are able to win as a favorite in the next 2 games at home against Georgia State tomorrow and then Utah State. And let's say they play tough against Bama but lose.
I think you're still here.
I think there's still a chance.
Yeah.
They've only come here one time, and I was there. It was 2008. Clark Lee was talking about Bobby Johnson, and that was the team that broke the 26-year drought of not being at a bowl game. And they beat Auburn that day to go to 5-0. They got ranked, and then they did not win again until they won just enough to get 6 wins to get to the bowl game, and then they beat BC in the frigid Music City Bowl at the stadium.
Now here's
So
the
it's been a long time.
situation. Here are the other games that could be featured on College Game Day on the same day. Ole Miss at Georgia.
Oh.
Texas at Kentucky, probably not.
Nah.
Tennessee at Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Missouri at Auburn.
But still, if
it's a 6-0 Vandy versus I would
Coming
assume
up-
a 6-0 LSU.
coming off of beating Alabama
Yeah.
at their place,
Oh, that's
Come
a
on.
that's a
Yeah,
no-brainer
yeah,
if
you
that's the
have
case.
to,
But
yeah.
if it's 2-1 loss, if it's Alabama and Tennessee each with 1 loss, then I have to say that's a. I think they
Tennessee,
like
Alabama.
to find reasons to go to places that they haven't been very much.
Yeah.
And so that might give Vanderbilt an intrigue there.
Yeah.
And LSU fans are going to show up.
Right, like this is
Well, who
like-
does LSU have? Are they likely to be undefeated?
LSU has the vaunted Southeastern Louisiana this weekend. Then the Tigers travel to Ole Miss next week, then host South Carolina.
Okay, so not a gimme that they're undefeated at that point. Because right now they're number 3?
Yes. I remember
There's still some wonder, are they that good? I mean,
I-
they're good. There's no question.
it is cool when College Game Day goes to, as Willie just said, goes to campuses it normally doesn't. For example, last season, College Game Day, the basketball version, goes to Duke a lot. But last season, College Game Day, the football version, went to Duke when Duke played Notre Dame. And that was really cool because I can't remember the last time football College Game Day came to Durham. So coming to Vandy would be really cool. 615.
My favorite sign when Vanderbilt had the College Game Day crew there was the students were putting up signs that said, "You people are blocking the library."
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Ask D-Mace will continue coming up next. So if you have a question for Derek, call or text 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, continuing Ask D-Mace live from Jimmy Kelly's Steakhouse in Midtown Nashville. We want to thank Jimmy Kelly's for having us out here today. We will also be back next Friday. They have fed us. We are full. We are happy. And if you want to feel like us, then you should come out to Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse. You can call them to make a reservation at 615-329-4349. You can go online to jimmykellys.com/reservations, or you can book through OpenTable. And if you mention 102.5 The Game in your reservation notes, you will enjoy a free dessert with your meal. We have taste tested some of these desserts. I recommend the sticky toffee. There's a lemon pie. There's some other delicious stuff. It's all good. If you want a great meal, you have to come here.
Listen, I am going to send Jimmy Kelly the bill for my tailor because I'm going to have to let out my pants a little bit, you know, because man, oh man, whew. Oh boy. And it's been all dessert, really. I did have my vegetables.
You did.
I had my asparagus. I had some corn. So, parents, I ate my vegetables. But man, oh man, that's some desserts, man. That's good.
Next week, I'm going to come prepared
with sweatpants.
and also not eating for 24 hours before I come here because it has been so good.
All right, back to Ask D-Mace. If you have a question for Derek, call us, text us, 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. One texter says, Derek, what's most likely to land you on Adam's bleep list with Chris Sanders? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
If I start bashing Duke,
yeah, that'll do it.
And maybe even start praising Belichick.
Is Michigan State playing Duke?
They are this season.
Oh yeah,
Duke at Michigan State.
Is it on a battleship? Remember the one time they played outside on a battleship?
Yeah.
Duke did not play on the battleship.
No,
that was Michigan State and North Carolina on the aircraft carrier. But Duke visits.
He was like, "How dare you? Don't say that."
He's like, do not mistake Duke for North Carolina.
Duke visits East Lansing in December, I
you know
believe,
it.
early December.
It's
We'll
on.
have a wager on that game.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, Derek is incredibly agreeable. He's great to work with. I can't think of anything Derek could do to get on my list.
I feel like the loopholes in the take it to the bank.
Yeah.
Which
We
I
have
believe
closed
have been
those
closed.
loopholes.
Yes,
So
we have
that-
closed
that
those
probably
loopholes.
won't flare
I
up.
tested every loophole out there just about.
In case you missed it, what Derek used to do, because we make four picks. And Derek, by the way, is in charge of the two common picks we'll do in the next segment. We make 4 picks. But what Derek would do is he would say, okay, I'm going to pick this game, and within that game, these 3 things are going to happen.
Right.
So it was more like 12 picks instead of 4 picks.
Hey, y'all got to be specific, okay? Y'all got to be to the detail.
We have closed the loopholes.
We have.
1 pick, 4 total.
Listen, it only takes one word.
He
and
tried
that
to
can
sneak
throw
one
everything
in.
out.
He tried to sneak 2 in last week too.
I
so-
missed this because I wasn't on the show last Friday. What
Yeah.
happened? What'd you do?
That's why they tell you have your lawyers overlook everything. Because one word can change everything. And my lawyers looked over it last year and found the loophole that I wasn't going to tell y'all about. Till y'all discovered it yourselves.
One texter says, how much appeal do the Virginia Tech and UCLA head coaching jobs have? Colin Cowherd and Josh Pate called it the worst job opening in college football. I assume they meant UCLA.
Listen, I don't know a lot about UCLA outside of, what they're doing now. I had a few friends that played for UCLA that I played with in the NFL. But I tend to think, especially when you're dealing with Power 5, I don't think there's a bad job, but there are some jobs that, like, if you want to potentially get another head coaching job, that job may not be the best job to take because it's going to take longer to get that program going. But say if you get it going, you will be the most sought out coach out there because you've taken a program that has been in shambles. I'm talking about UCLA.
Yes.
That has been in shambles. And if you can get that program back to winning again, I mean, that will open up a lot of doors for you at other universities.
Those crowds at the Rose Bowl have just been
it's
atrocious.
and understandably so.
So what I was reading about in the aftermath of that decision is that they've fallen way behind in NIL funds and resources. The Rose Bowl obviously is aging every year, and it's also a good drive distance from the campus. So it's maybe not what it once was. And also them being in the Big Ten, I don't know if that's helping that program. Like, is that a sell where their recruiting base is out west? Hey, we're going to go to Iowa and play.
Like, huh?
We're going to go to Nebraska and play.
Huh?
Like, I don't know if that resonates with the kids out that way. So I think it's right now it's probably nowhere close than it was when Rick Neuheisel was playing, and they used to have some really good teams.
And with
way
Virginia,
back in there, even when Deshaun Foster,
he was on one of those really good teams.
And with Virginia Tech, the days of Frank Beamer and Michael Vick are long gone.
But that's still a great atmosphere.
Yes. But the program has fallen on hard times. I mean, the Hokies, and I can speak to this as someone who grew up in Virginia, the Hokies were consistently a top 25 team for a long time. But last week, I mean, I made the pick and take it to the bank. Cha-ching, that Old Dominion would cover on the road at Virginia Tech. I did not expect Old Dominion to beat the brakes off Virginia Tech in Blacksburg.
Here's a question, and this would be one that I have no idea what's inside the head of Shane Beamer. But let's say Shane Beamer in the nostalgic part is the guy that Virginia Tech would like to get. Is that attractive to Shane Beamer?
I did speak to noted Hokies fan Jake Lyman today.
Okay.
And I asked him that same question. And he said he thinks the only way Shane Beamer would consider going to Virginia Tech is if he had a feeling that he was about to be fired at South Carolina. Like if he got out before they got him.
Yeah, I can see that. Because essentially
it would be a great story,
I
but
think you'd be taking a step back.
He would be taking a step down.
To go to Virginia Tech.
Yes.
Just based
despite
on
the nostalgia.
Just based on the conference alone, you're taking a step back.
It's just so hard to win in the SEC. I do wonder, are your chances of getting to the playoffs better
in the ACC?
In the ACC, where you may not get the extra at large, but maybe the league's more winnable, best case, than in the SEC. But the resources are probably not equal.
Andrew on our text line says, D-Mace, at this point, which team do you think wins a championship first, the Titans or the Predators? My guess is the Titans, but only after I'm dead. I'm 34 years old.
Oh, wow. Goodness gracious.
Come on, Andrew.
If you had asked me this question at the beginning of last year, I would have said the Predators because of the move that they made. And I think everybody was in line like this team's going to be a really good team. And they were trending toward that before the season started. But then obviously we saw what happened. And it kind of, quelled anything. I don't know. This is a hard question to ask. I don't know because for some strange reason, both of these organizations tend to go down the same road together. It's like they're walking hand in hand. Twins walking down the street. It seemed like the same thing they go through, the Titans go through. The same, winning success that the Titans have. It seems like during that period, the Predators had the same type of success. So for whatever reason, these two organizations, these two franchises seem to have sort of built up the same history in a sense. Both teams, one team went to a Super Bowl, one team went to a Stanley Cup. Both teams have won their division. Both teams have been number one seeds. So it seemed like both of these organizations have been down the same road together. So honestly, I don't know.
Is it easier, Willie, to turn around an NFL franchise or an NHL franchise?
I think an NFL franchise.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because there's more immediate help from the draft. If you string together 2 or 3 good drafts in a row and the pieces come together.
And contracts are not guaranteed in the NFL.
And you've got to find the quarterback.
Right.
But I think what we're finding is even though there is a hard salary cap in hockey, that these rebuilds are hard, right? It's taking a long time, even for ones that are still, people think, hey, this is the rebuild's going okay. We're talking about 5-6 years into a rebuild in a lot of cases where the team hasn't even gotten to the playoffs yet. So I think once you're a distance away, it is it takes time to build back up. It's hard to do it quick.
Yeah, in the NFL, one reason I think is because whereas it's a bonus for the NHL and the NFL wish they had it, I think the fully guaranteed contracts make it harder for NHL teams to turn their, team around because not everybody wants your contracts that you sign with a guy. Where in the NFL,
Right.
it's easy to dump that guy
yeah,
and
you
move
cut
on.
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Play
not
the
have to
dead
deal
money.
with- exactly.
And also you have to win 16 playoff games to win the Stanley Cup. Whereas, it's not that it's easy to go through a football postseason.
You
but
can win. You can
win
need
three.
only 3.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a top seed. Eric, and I don't know if this is the Eric who usually provides dad jokes, but Eric on our text line says, "Why don't sharks like clowns?"
Oh man, it has something to do with a clownfish. I don't know.
They taste funny.
Okay. I know I like that one too. I like that one. It's a dad joke. It's a dad joke. My kids would look at me and like, what? Seriously? That's a good dad joke. I like that one. I like it.
This texter must not have been listening to our opening segment and wants to trigger me. But this texter says, grass or turf? Do you think the turf now is significantly more playable than back in your day? Which makes Derek sound really old. I was skeptical when the Titans switched to turf, even though the grass at the stadium never seemed to hold up well. From what I've seen, the new turf has been fine. Not according to Cam Ward.
Well, I know D Mays played on that Vanderbilt turf in '97. That was old and not good.
I played on Vanderbilt's turf.
I trained on that
played
turf
on
for a
the
few years.
Vet turf in Philly. I've been on that turf. Pittsburgh's turf. I've been on that turf. I mean,
pool table.
Back in the day, turf wasn't. I mean, you dealt with it and you just hope and prayed you ain't. And I played on.
Did you
turf
ever
at
get
Michigan
a really
State.
good rug burn?
Oh, of course. But we started wearing these white strips on our arms so you wouldn't. But then it was murder trying to take those things off your arm because they kind of like put the sticky stuff on it.
Yeah.
And then you're in the shower, darn near ripping your skin off to get that off. So I played 4 years at Michigan State, and we practiced, especially a lot during the latter part of the years. We would play on turf and practice on turf.
Our friend Hair Metal Henry has a dad joke for you on our text line. Why did Mozart kill all of his chickens?
Ooh, I don't know.
When he asked who their favorite composer was, all they could say was "bok bok bok bok." Willie,
that may go over your kid's head.
Willie did not
That
want to
may-
laugh. He had this look on his face, like I think it's funny, but I don't want to. I don't want to acknowledge it. So I'm just. But he couldn't. He
Hey,
couldn't
he's
help
gonna
it.
remember that joke. He's
That's
gonna
pretty
remember
good.
that one.
I might have
He's
to
gonna
file that
remember
one.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Evie's about to get a call after the show. Hey, Evie, this is Dad. Why did Mozart kill all of his chickens? Oh, man. All right. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. If you have any other questions or dad jokes for Derek, you can sneak them in on our phone and text lines. But we will wrap up the week, as we always do, by taking it to the bank with our friends at F&M Bank. That's coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Derek Mason here, and if you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. Law Tigers make sure you get the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. Look, they understand how much your bike gear is worth to you, so it will help you get it all repaired or better yet replaced. Law Tigers is the resource the motorcycle community turns to when in need. So whether it's to support you at an event or if they see you broken down on the side of the road, with Law Tigers, you'll never ride alone. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Fuson, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Ave South. Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. It's the end of the week, which means we are about to take it to the bank with our friends at F&M Bank. Customer, community, banking made easy on purpose. A reminder that we are out at Jimmy Kelly's Steakhouse. They have been absolutely incredible hosts. We'll be back here next Friday as well. And if you want to enjoy that hospitality yourself, make a reservation. Call 615-329-4349. Go online to jimmykellys.com/reservations or book through OpenTable. And if you mention 102.5 The Game when making your reservation, you will receive a free dessert, which are delicious. We sampled many of them. So we are ready to take it to the bank. But before we make our selections for this week, David Janes, if you will, our recap from last week.
All right, gentlemen. So let me double check everything. So Adam, I'm going to just go with you first because you're the first name that's on here.
Okay.
You said for both your primary picks, you said over oh geez, sorry. I don't have but you said the over and under from last week. I forget what the two primary questions were because they're not on my list anymore.
It was over 3.5 sacks allowed by the Titans and under 1.5 total touchdowns from Cam Ward.
Yes. Okay. So you were the only one that got both correct.
Yay!
And I'm just going to say this now just because, it's funny to say. D-Mace got both wrong. He switched.
I switched.
He said under and then over. It's supposed to be over then under. But now Adam, you've been talking, you're throwing the flag on this one, but you said Cam Ward would throw his first touchdown at least 15 yards. That did not happen. It says on ESPN it was 9 yards.
42.3 air yards. I think I should get credit for it.
Listen, I am looking at what ESPN says. It says 9 yards.
Fair enough.
But the biggest win of the weekend for you was the ODU cover against Virginia Tech.
Not only did the Monarchs cover, they beat the brakes off of the Hook.
BTA,
but I will take it.
BTA. So you scored.
They got the coach fired.
Exactly. You scored a total of 7 points for 15 total points.
Okay, I'll take it.
Now, Willie, again, this was controversial last week. You were very upset that you only got 2 points for getting both primary questions right. So what I decided to do this week, because I'm a nice commissioner, I have said, and this happened for you, Adam, already, if you get both the questions right, they're both one of those questions is worth 1 point. If you get both correct, you get an additional 2 points. So Willie, you got additional 2 points from last week. With also, you only got 3 questions. You said the over of touchdowns and the over of sacks. You got one of those right.
Yeah.
You also said Miami plus 17.5, which happened. And then Alabama covers 20.5.
How many picks did you have, Willie?
No, I had 4. I went 3 and 1.
Okay.
I went 3 and 1.
Okay, I was just making sure.
He was retroactively giving me points.
You were the one that, has tried to make multiple picks. All right.
I was just working within the rules last year. That's all.
And again, if you decide to pull a fast one again, you're 1 game suspension. Remember that.
You will be penalized.
You will.
Yeah.
Will, you got a total of 7 points this week for a total of 23 total points.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So I ain't getting no points this week.
Well, no, just wait.
Okay,
you
got your 2 common questions incorrect.
You got the rest of yours correct because you said Vandy would win.
Yes, that's right.
And you said Diego Pavia would have 2 touchdowns, and he got 2 touchdowns for a total of 6 points. So you so you got the same points from last week. So you got 12 total points.
D-Mace is riding the Commodore wave. They've now sold out the game.
They have sold out the games against Georgia State, Auburn, and LSU.
Let's do that, man.
Nice.
He's big anchor down energy right now.
That's right.
Got to make sure I can get in
real
tomorrow.
Vandy. I'm real Vandy right here. I'm real Vandy.
Vandy, your church, correct?
Yes.
Now, exactly. I said over again, but I got the over sacks, so I got 1 point from that. I also said Memphis would win by 3 total touchdowns. They did. And I also said Lamar Jackson would have 3 total touchdowns. He got 4. Boom. And I got a total of 6 points. That was worth 16 total points. So
it's Willie, David, Adam, Derek.
Yes, that's correct.
So Derek Mason, you are in charge of the 2 common questions this week. What are your choices?
Okay, my choices are, and I gave them to David already. The Titans right now sit at 27% in third down conversions. Last year they were at 37%, a 10% swing. The league average is around 34, 35%. Will the Titans on third down be over 33%? Over under 33%?
Willie?
One of every three.
Yes, one of every three.
You go first, Willie.
I am going to say no. I am not. I'm concerned about this game. I think you got a red hot team feeling good about themselves. I don't feel good about it. I'm going to go under.
Derek, you want me to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
In an effort to try to catch up to Willie, I will say yes. I will say they will convert more than a third of their third downs.
I will say, man, one of three. Gosh,
they got to get themselves into shorter third downs.
I mean, I don't feel great about saying yes, but I need to catch up.
I want them to, but I don't think they will.
Okay, so Derek's taking the under. David?
Oh.
You know what? I'm going to go over as well, Adam. I just know it's got to happen, right? It's got to happen eventually.
At some point.
Yeah, at some point.
Blind squirrel, yada, yada. All right, Derek, the second question.
Second question is more so of a fun question. In the last 2 weeks, the Tennessee Titans only once has had a individual in the next gen sports be clocked over 20 miles per hour while having the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And that one guy was DK. Why am I forgetting DK's first name?
Chim DK.
Chim DK.
Yes.
Chim DK. And he did that in the first game.
Okay.
He didn't do it in the last game. So nobody ran over 20 miles per hour with the ball in their hand last game. So with that being said, over under 1.5 players will get over 20 miles per hour on next gen stats with the ball in their hand.
Okay, so let's just clarify. Over under 1.5 Titans players who are registered to run
20 miles
at least 20 miles per hour with the ball in any given play.
Yep.
I will say under.
What you got, Willie?
I'm pretty confident that DK can hit that, but he does all the returns.
Now let me ask you this question, Derek.
So I'm saying under.
A point of order. So if DK has 2, that doesn't count. It has to be 2 separate players.
Yeah, it has to be 2 separate players.
Okay, then definitely under.
That's my thinking of going under. Like somebody else who is fast is going to have to break into the open field to accelerate to max speed.
Yes,
and I would guess Ridley's capable of that.
Yes.
I would maybe a couple other guys, but I don't know. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say under.
What about you, Derek?
You said under. You said under.
Yep.
Oh man, I think I'm going over.
Okay, David.
Who's the second guy?
I'm going under.
I'll matter. I think I'll matter. Get one and go.
So, Willie.
But then Calvin Ridley too. But he got catch.
Willie, David, and I are saying under. Derek is saying over.
Yes.
All right. So let's get to our individual selections. Since I have mine in front of me, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
The Indianapolis Colts will punt on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. The Colts are the first team in the Super Bowl era to not punt in either of their first 2 games of a season. I say that comes to an end. The Titans force a punt for the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday.
That is a sucker bet.
Hey, first team in the
That's
Super
a
Bowl
very
era.
low degree of
First team in
difficulty.
the Super Bowl era not to have punted.
I want to go on the record, Commissioner, saying that is one of the lowest.
How many
degree
times?
of difficulty picks.
That's
like saying
How
I
many
think
times do we
Tennessee's going to
think
beat
they will
UAB.
punt?
That's like saying
Tennessee's going to beat UAB.
Okay,
that's
this
like
week.
saying
Hey, order.
Okay, hold on.
Order.
Have the guts to
Hold
say they're
on,
going to
so-
punt
Order.
twice.
How many times do you think
Okay.
they'll actually punt?
I will add to the degree of difficulty.
Okay, there you go.
They will punt at least twice.
Okay.
All right.
That's
There we
still
go.
low.
The-
That's
Yeah.
still low.
Yes.
But that's better
What's
than
the average
Yeah,
amount
I'll
of punts
take
in
it,
the
though.
game?
I don't know. They still haven't punted. I'll take 2
4.
punts.
I guess 4 would be the average.
The Colts
I
will
would
punt at least twice
Okay.
against the Titans on Sunday.
That's
at least
better,
it's at
man.
least
Goodness. God.
reasonable.
He
That's
gonna
reasonable.
say, I bet they punt.
That's in
Oh,
bounds.
no stuff, Sherlock. That's not
Do I
doing.
need to remind you that the Colts haven't punted yet this season?
Well,
Do you think they're
technically,
going to do that every
they
week?
did, but they got a penalty.
No,
so
it doesn't count in the
otherwise-
record book. Okay, to make y'all feel better, I will say the Colts will punt at least twice
Okay,
against the
perfect.
Titans.
Okay.
My second selection, Vanderbilt, as I look at it right now, favored by minus 28.5 against Georgia State. I'm feeling the Vanderbilt mojo. This is a revenge game for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt will indeed cover against Georgia State, minus 28.5.
All right.
Willie?
My picks?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to ride the Miami Hurricanes. I think they're really good. Florida, I think by the end of the year is going to pick a few teams off, but Miami absolutely crushed Florida last year in the Swamp. Miami is a better team this year. I think they've got more talent. Florida they've got issues. So I think Miami minus 7.5. Give it to me. Give it to me. What? Was that the right? I thought David was really disappointed in my pick.
He might be.
He could be.
I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong with that pick,
Yes,
David?
I was very disappointed.
I thought he was like coming at me with the gator chomp or something.
All right.
All right, my other pick is this will allow you to repeat a really good stat. I think Cam Ward is due to throw one interception. I don't think he'll throw. I hope he doesn't throw more than one, but I think he will throw his first NFL interception on Sunday.
Yes. Cam Ward is the only quarterback drafted number 1 overall in the common draft era to not throw an interception in his first 2 starts.
Okay.
So Willie says that comes to an end on Sunday.
I mean, a tip ball or something, a high throw that I think it's just due to have one.
Derek?
I am going first with I got Purdue to cover. I got them to win.
Against Notre Dame.
Yep, they're 25-point dog. So I got them. I'm taking the point.
That is the most random thing. You've been studying Boilermaker film or something? Where is this coming from?
Who's been watching the Boilermakers?
Yeah,
Come on.
other than Purdue fans.
Even they're not watching it.
Hey Willie, I am a Big Ten guy.
Yes.
So I know SEC fans don't turn into the Big Ten Network, but I do watch Big Ten Network.
So you've been watching some Big Ten.
Yes, I've been watching some Big Ten football.
Your second selection.
My second selection is, even though I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I was going to go with Michigan State. They will cover, but I'm not going there because that makes me look at the game differently. I am going with Cam Ward having 2 touchdowns.
Of any kind?
Of any kind. It could
Okay.
be a run, a pass, 2 pass.
Okay.
He will account for 2 touchdowns.
David, quickly, your 2 selections.
All right, so I'm going to go with Diego Pavia with 3 touchdowns this weekend.
Ooh.
And just because I'm going to support my boy Adam Ningen, I'm going with my Memphis Tigers to beat
All right.
Arkansas.
There you go. Gotta love it. That'll do it for us today and this week. A big thank you to Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse for having us out here today. We'll be back next Friday as well. Make your reservations. Come out to Jimmy Kelly's. It's delicious. If you're looking for something to do on a date night before a Vanderbilt game, this is where you need to be. We will talk to you Monday, 3 o'clock from Circa Sportsbook in Kentucky as we recap Titans and Colts. We'll see you then.
I love you. We love you. Be loved. Love on your people. This music is great. Oh, you got to love it. This is going to be our song at the end from here on out.
I can see
So
Adam.
I love it. Exactly.
I can see Adam in the hallways of high school going, Derek, will you walk on by?
Exactly.
When you walk on by, will you call my name?
Won't you forget about me? No, people, enjoy your weekend. Have a blessed and wonderful day. I love you. The gods love you. Peace.